Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. Samantha's here. Butler's here. The fish tank looks better than it ever has looked.
Yes.
And I would like to give the Good Fish Tank Award to you, sir, for staying on top of that water.
Well, I just put that. That has nothing to do with why it's so clear. That's all.
No,
shelf.
I think before we had left it dry, and then the
motor.
pump started blowing two-stroke exhaust into the tank, kind of gassing out all the fish. We also have a new fish in there who's completely translucent, and he eats the rocks and he poops them at his gills.
Mm-hmm.
Is that how he somehow scrapes off the algae?
He cleans the rocks.
Yeah,
and he digests the algae or
but
whatever.
it's fast.
And then kicks out the rocks.
He'll bite dirty rocks, and then they'll
Fall
turn
out.
white, and then he just poops them right out the sides.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
What's that fish called?
Well, I don't know. I call him Big Mouth, but
right.
Other than that, you guys told me not to name him anymore because every fish I name ends up dying.
That's true.
Yeah. We thought we'd have a long relationship with the Dory, the Dory fish,
The big
whatever.
Dory, yeah.
That one's lasted
It's
a
a
long
killing
time.
machine.
She is our second Dory, though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I
That
forgot.
first one didn't
We
last.
had Baby
Yeah,
Dory,
yeah.
Baby Dory, the crabs ate
Yeah,
Baby Dory. Now we have
that's right.
Big Dory. Big Dory's she's like, she's 100% that bitch. I'll tell you. Do you want to do the thing?
Yeah.
Let's do the thing. Tom wanted to do a bit. He called it Weird Job Wednesday. Dan really likes it. Tom says that's bullshit. It's another Weird Job Wednesday. What are you doing? What is your job? Are you neat? Are you tidy? Or are you a fat slob? Do you make lots of money and you sit up in your tower looking down on all the people who are working by the hour? It's a Weird Job Wednesday. Just another Weird Job Wednesday. Oh yes, it's Weird Job Wednesday. Just another Weird Job Wednesday. Thank you, Tom. Thank you.
Weird Job Wednesday brought to you by StreamlineFlorida.com. If you haven't refied your house in the past 5 years,
What are you waiting for?
you should look into it because the rates are crazy low, and you, for sure, if you live in Florida, have equity in your house because
People like Florida.
yeah, and
We're open, baby.
Yeah, they're liking it more and more, it seems like.
so if you got credit card debt or where you got some, just consolidate everything into your house with a lower rate. Maybe take off your your mortgage insurance if you had to have that back in the day, and take some money out, pay your credit cards off.
That's exactly what I did.
Yeah, and or redo your house because it's there, and just call Brian and his team. They can do it all over the phone and tell you exactly if it makes sense.
Super duper simple. Probably the easiest thing you'll do. It's StreamlineFlorida.com.
And if it doesn't make sense, they'll just tell you it doesn't cost you money. It's just a phone call.
Yeah, and like if you're like me, they'll keep you on file and then they'll call you when it makes sense.
Yeah.
Very, very easy.
So, today's Weird Job contestant, his name is Brett. How you doing, Brett?
So far, so good.
So,
Brett's mad at us.
Come on.
No, I'm kidding. I'm joking.
So Brett did,
But let's explain it correctly because I think this is interesting, and this is like you're nothing unless you try to learn and try to evolve. So we were, and Brett, you correct me if I'm telling the story wrong, but we were kicking around the whole idea of wedding videography. And we were talking about the old videos, basically what I remember, VHS tape, copies.
The wedding video of the 80s.
Yeah,
and
the
then
veil catches on fire. They put it out.
It's most of where my comedy came from. America's Funniest Home Videos.
100%.
The grandma puts the mic up to her head like it's a telephone. She's then
leans over while she's eating key lime pie. Her poof catches on fire because of the amount of hairspray.
The drunk uncle tries to pick up the bride and do some sort of a footloose move, and then she stone cold stunners into the dance floor.
It's bad.
Yeah. So I've always joked around that the wedding videos are stupid and no one ever watches them.
And we were like inadvertently crapping all over basically what you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, and we wanted to try and correct that by getting you on here to tell us how the industry has evolved, how we were wrong, and how people can benefit from the new vision of wedding videography.
Well, Brett, this also came from us talking about wedding videos would be cool if it was more behind the scenes and more of like preparing.
Well, we thought of that idea, not Brett, and certainly not his industry.
Yeah. Then you emailed us this whole thing, and that's why you're on the show. So let's talk about wedding videos. How long have you been doing it, Brett?
Right about 8 years now.
Okay, and how'd you get into the industry?
Well, I'll try to keep it as condensed as possible, but I started out in photography. And I was in the BMX world doing all that. Couldn't really show what my friends were doing with photos, so I wanted to get a video camera. Went on a road trip. Guy taught me how to do it. Then for a while I was in the BMX industry doing that stuff. Got some great opportunities with that, even all the way up to like ESPN.com videos and stuff.
So, Hope, can you pause for 1 second? Because I don't want you to go too fast. Because it's pretty interesting to think that were you a BMX rider who just happened to really enjoy photography and video, or vice versa?
Yeah, I started out in BMX, and then when I was in high school, I wanted to take an easy credit, so I took photography.
Sure.
And people thought that teachers or my mom. Oh, you're great. Sure. Okay, great. Yeah. I'm sure. So I stuck with it, whatever. And then I said, just got where I couldn't show what I wanted to show with the tricks. I was in the racing thing first, had highly misguided dreams of being a professional racer. So I was doing the photo stuff with that, but then with video, with freestyle, that's what was necessary. So I said, got the camera, got a crash course on it. And then I was just filming my friends for fun. I never had any aspirations of making a living off of it or making any money off of it. It just turned out that one of my friends that I was filming ended up being, for a short time, one of the biggest names in BMX. So when I was filming him, and then he sent it to his sponsors, who then also ran some websites, they reached out to me and said, hey, if you want to make some more of these, we can pay you. And I was like, what?
That's awesome.
Pay me? Okay. And then just kind of snowballed from there, or kind of do what I can in one website. They burn out or whatever. Eventually Transworld reached out to me for a while. I did some with them, then ESPN, and blah, blah, blah,
It's crazy. Even had the opportunity. Sorry, not to cut you off, but it's crazy to think that you would start doing something as a hobby because, that is the epitome of, that people always say, do what you love and then the money will come. It's like, it's funny. You start out in BMX, you get a crash course on a camera, you start shooting it because you just truly enjoy the sport. But the next thing you know, you got Transworld hitting you up and you're getting paid suddenly for something you care about.
Yeah, it's do what you love and some money.
Right,
yeah.
Not a lot.
Which is part of the problem. Like it was great. We got to travel around, a bunch of stuff, and maybe if the economy hadn't crashed out, over a decade ago, maybe things would be different. But that definitely took the wind out of the sails with it.
Sure.
So then, having to look for what else I can do with my skills, and like anyone down on leads would do, you go to Craigslist. And I responded to an ad looking for a Christian rap video, which would have been hilarious all on its own, but that never happened. But turns out the guy was a wedding DJ, and he reached out to me and said, hey man, can you film wedding videos? And I was terrified because it sounds so scary to me.
This whole Christian rap thing's not going to work. We're going wedding videos. This is an awesome story.
So he was like, I can give you $150 to film it. I'm like, okay. At that rate, they can't expect a world of quality. So
right.
I was able to cut my teeth with, not a whole lot on the line. At least, I was hoping. And then just kind of slowly worked my way up. Found another company who wanted somebody, wanted the same thing, but for a little bit more. Keeps it moving. A friend of mine was doing them too and put me onto some other companies. So, now I've got my own company that I do, and that's, my primary focus, but I still work for like 5 other companies where I just film and send them the footage and they do the editing, and so on. Then that kind of helps fill the calendar out.
Gotcha. Now let's go back because sorry.
Oh man.
He gets very emotional when he's talking about BMX.
So nothing.
This guy, he just starts
He lives and breathes rubber on road.
Going back to like extreme sports videography, like
let's do it. I almost rather talk about that.
Well, and then we're going to talk about wedding videos. But every time,
I would think wedding videos would be harder.
So
yes.
With the extreme sports and like the skateboard videos and even like the skiing and stuff, like if you watch any X Games or like the Olympics, let's say,
sure,
like if you let's take skiing. When someone is doing either like not so much downhill because they're going too fast, but like the half pipe or
you like freestyle skiing
or freestyle or that kind of, there's always a cameraman like skiing backwards, filming this person.
It's crazy, yeah.
Or filming them from the side or whatever it is, and that person is literally keeping this guy in frame, holding a giant camera, skiing backwards, and that guy is like the second best skier besides all the competitors. You know what I'm saying?
I saw it at Sunlight. There was a guy getting video, and the guy in front of him on the mountain was skiing backwards, holding a camera.
And so even though in skateboard videos, like street skating, there's usually the camera guy is skating along with the person trying to do the tricks, and basically
I've seen Tony Rage do it.
Skiing or skating without even looking to keep the person in the shot and stuff. And so if you think about it, if like you're into these extreme sports and then you get into some sort of videography, like that's where the money is, because
knowing how to do it.
You have to know how to skate and ski and do all these things.
Do you have to bike with a camera?
I feel like we in BMX in general, and this, obviously stylistically different people do different things, but I would do that some bike stuff. If you're on like really rough gravel, you're not going to be able to use a skateboard, or you might not have one around anyway if you're out there in the street. So yeah, sometimes you do the ride along thing, which can be a little bumpy, a little tricky. I feel like skate parks were the place where we did more of that, because of the smoother surface. And a lot of times then you could bring, instead of a bike, you could bring in a skateboard, or if you were willing to take the jokes, you could bring in some inline skates and use those to film, because it's way easier because you're like on a forward track with it instead of sideways. But you also will just continuously receive ridicule from everyone.
right.
But I did it still because I don't care. But so it was inline skates a lot for skate park stuff, and said bikes on the street when it made sense.
That's interesting.
So, Brett, what about technology taking over for the videographer in the like GoPros are getting so good and like mounting them in different positions? Like you see a lot of
cameras, drone footage.
Well, you see a lot
wire cameras.
Yeah, GoPros in like BMX and mountain biking and things like that, because obviously you could put them on your helmet or whatever, and then the drones now can follow you, and you can set them to follow you and film at a certain height, and and they're getting better and better. You think technology is kind of taking the place of the human?
If we're talking in sports, we may have more of that going on, I would say, for sure. The wedding industry is where I feel like that's still way far away from being a real consideration if you want something of quality. But definitely, I've seen people get away with using GoPros or drones or whatever for BMX stuff lately, especially because it's become so disposable. It's YouTube videos, or it's web edits, or it's Instagram videos, and it doesn't have to be the epitome of cinematography. You're just trying to get the tricks out. People are excited. They don't care if it's filmed with a potato or a $30,000 camera. So for BMX, if it makes sense.
One more question about like skate videos. And so do these like extreme sports athletes, do they have camera guys that are kind of like caddies to golf, as far as like?
That's an interesting question, because I was watching the Masters this weekend, and the caddy plays a pretty significant role.
Yeah, these guys have lifelong and relationships sometimes.
Yeah, just like in vision of like what trick would look the best, what your limitations are, what you can put. Yeah, that's an interesting question.
I imagine like if you're a really good street skater and you got your buddy that films you all the time, you become in rhythm with that person.
So Brett working with his buddy on BMX shots, and you would know, like, you'd have the vision of what's going to look the best. You're almost a director.
Well, you've worked with him so much, you know what tricks, how they are going to look, where he's going to land, and you know, like that kind of stuff. Does that happen with other like pro skaters and athletes? They have like one specific camera guy.
I don't want to overstep my knowledge base, but from my understanding on skateboarding, that's a lot more of a common thing.
Okay.
Very common from what I understand. In BMX, it's not as much, and I think it's a budget issue. I think some skateboarders that make a huge amount of money, they can pay their guys like a legit living,
right?
Just to be the filmers, because they're making huge cash off of Nike and Monster.
And they know it's worth, because they know if those videos well represent, like he said, Nike and Monster, that you're just going to get more Nike and Monster money. So
Red Bull.
It would be in your best interest to keep your BMX filming man Brett. You'd like want to stuff his pockets full of money to keep your pockets full of money.
Yeah, in BMX, it's not as common. I know of a guy that's actually from West Palm that lives out in California now, who only films with one guy, and I guess when his friends are around, but like for the past 5-8 years, whatever,
right,
it's just been him. The other ones, you have guys that you work with that normally, like I had my people locally that I worked with when I was in that, and they weren't jumping around and working with other people a ton, unless they were on some other road trip for a company or whatever. So you have your group, you have your people that you do know, and you can predict what's going on and what they're capable of and all of that. But I feel like it's less common in BMX where you like actually have somebody salaried to do that.
Right.
One last question. When in the world of like the BMX mountain biking and stuff, it seems like I see this one mountain bike guy that rides with Red Bull all the time on Facebook, and he's just constantly putting out content.
We do watch the same things.
And then it seems like that's the new business model of like Red Bull and other, like Red Bull realized like, all right, we'll just have these athletes, we'll pay them some sort of stipend just to literally nonstop always put out content. They have a production crew that follows this guy.
Almost there all the time.
Yeah, I'm sure this is his work week of just putting out content, and then they just constantly just pump out content.
Or they'll do a trip and bank. Like they'll go like, oh, we're going to Brazil, and then they just film for 2 weeks, and then they bank all that stuff and then just eke it out.
It seems like now more than ever, getting into videography and production is like could be a really steady full-time job, because there's just so much out there, and you don't just have to work for one production studio or whatever.
Yeah, and it's become more and more over the years that, when I was first getting into it, you either had to be a contest writer to be a higher paid professional, or you did a DVD or whatever, but you made nothing. Now it feels like that's shifted, where those video projects you're talking about that you're watching have almost taken center stage over contest writing, and those guys are getting compensated very well. And with the whole more opportunities for media people to work in there, I'm sure, but it's still such a small, closed off deal. It's, if you're one of the cool kids, then maybe.
Yeah.
But like in BMX, from my estimation, and there's maybe people who come from other industries that help out for Red Bull, they might pull motocross guys, to film BMX or whatever. I'm not sure. But when it comes to people who predominantly make their living in BMX and do it well like that, there's maybe only 5-10 people in the whole BMX world that make a reasonable full-time living off of doing it. So I wasn't cool enough, I guess, to make the cut. So had to keep it moving, and said ultimately end up with what I'm doing now.
Let's talk about that.
Let's talk about wedding videos now. Right out of the gate, Dan Paul asked a great question from our Twitch chat room, and I'd said earlier that I think wedding videos a lot harder to. I just think your clientele is going to be a lot harder. But have you ever had to edit out people's activities in wedding videos because maybe they have done something that would not, would scar the finishing product or something?
Yes, certainly. Not as much as you may think.
Right.
But I did have one where I pulled about 35 minutes of toasts from the reception. The bride seemed lovely to me, but apparently that sentiment wasn't shared with her own father and brothers.
Oh no!
Oh, yeah.
Who went on a 35-minute just destruction path, just ripping through this woman mercilessly.
Oh my God!
The nicest thing out of the 35 minutes that was said was one of the brothers that said, "I gotta hand it to you, sis. You lost a ton of weight for this wedding."
Oh, that was
the nicest thing.
Oh man, they're just roasting her ass.
Were they messing around?
It seemed pretty serious.
Oh,
It seemed like they were out for blood.
Christ.
My God. See, you got to have nerves of steel. I can only imagine if you would switch places with Tom and Tom had to endure how uncomfortable that would be for, would you say 30 minutes? A half hour of toast is
That's
a long
ridiculous.
time.
So
I mean, it was even more than that. There were some nice people giving toast too. The usual best man and maid of honor, they did a normal thing, but I mean, I don't know.
That almost makes it worse, right? Because then you have something to compare it to. If it had all been negative, then you can almost go, it's a roast. If you have like some good things in there, you're
Right.
like, oh Lord.
Yeah, I mean, apparently the bride used to be very physically violent to her brothers, which was part of the anger issues. It was very referenced how she would hurt them a lot.
Oh man!
But then I reached out to her before I even started editing it. And I said, hey, what do you want me to do with this? Because, I mean, if this is how you guys do it, this is your dynamic, then okay. And she was like, no, I don't want any of it. Just the first 2 toasts, cut the rest. So I've done that. Most of the other stuff that goes on behind the scenes type of stuff, I mean, you can kind of read it as you want. Like, if everyone's tooting weed pens all the time, maybe that is what they want. And if that's their way of getting down and that's what they like, then that's awesome. I'm down with that. That's fine.
Oh my God, you got to cut all the weed pens out? You have the hardest job in the world, especially in Florida.
Yeah, 10,000 weed pens.
Weed pen editor? My God, this guy's winning. You'll win best weird job for the end of time.
I've seen a million pens and I've
Tooted them all.
Which is also a weird one when they want me to toot them with them. And especially the day has just started. You don't want that. You don't want,
no.
That's not a good move for me.
I'm vaccinated. Toot my pen. I don't understand vaccines.
So
no, it's really the shame of vapes that I've realized is the problem. They don't care if I can have them blowing weed smoke everywhere. That's fine, which doesn't happen that often. I'm just focusing on
show
the
my
entertaining
rig
stuff. But the vape stuff, I like people are like, you just push out, just no. I'm like, that's what you do. You're blowing clouds the whole day. What do you want me to do?
I'm blowing plumes, dude.
Brett, when you got into filming weddings, I'm sure there was a learning period of time, and where you start doing friends and families' weddings first, right?
Like tattoo people do.
Yeah, and that's where you kind of learn. What's the 2021 version of a wedding video? Because like we said at the beginning, we're making fun of the 80s version of the wedding video, and you emailed us and said it's changed a lot. So what's the new wedding video?
Yeah, the way that you guys were talking about it. And that's the thing, for years, occasionally you've touched on wedding videos and kind of dogged on them or whatever. And before I can't say anything because, if you don't like something, you don't like something. But then the last time when you were saying, well, I would like them if they focused more on the fun stuff and they were more fast paced and you didn't focus so much on the long drawn out stuff. That's when I finally had something to say, because it's like what you described basically is what we do now. Of course, obviously, I say what we do in a general sense. I'm sure you could find plenty of people who would give you a 4-hour long, boring, shoulder mount, whatever. But I mean, really, even what I do is still on the longer end. There's a lot of people who are doing the thing with like 3 to 4 minute long videos, which I find that then kind of hard, even for me, to justify the cost when that's all you get in the end. I know I'm just not young enough to put myself in the mindset of 20 somethings. Maybe to them, spending that money for that 3 minute long video is completely reasonable and rational.
You bring up something super interesting I was thinking about last night.
They want a short.
Yeah, most of the content's going to like 30 seconds a minute. It's TikTok, mentality.
Oh, yeah.
So to that, I can completely identify with you. I mean, we have that problem even here with what we do, whether it be podcasting or radio shows. We're considered long form, torturous 2 hours of audio, when most things are like 30 seconds to a minute. Is that something that you have found is very difficult, or do you just try to tailor it to whatever the person asks you to do?
Yeah, I've done before where I'll make an Instagram or Facebook or whatever, version and edit of it as well. It's kind of an add-on that I'll offer. But it seems like most people are good with something up to about 12 to 15 minutes. Because of course it's you, if you were watching somebody else's wedding for 15 minutes, maybe it wouldn't hold your attention as much.
Right.
But when it's you and it's this big day and, still condensing down. I mean, when I'm doing my own company's work, not going for other people, I'm oftentimes there anywhere between 10 and to the long end, maybe 14 hours. So condensing down that much time into 12 to 15 minutes, That's already pretty short.
Yeah, that's
really
hard. Yeah.
I mean, I could make it 30 minutes without thinking twice because I have to make some hard decisions sometimes with making it down to that point. But I know people will drift after that, like 12-ish range. But I mean, I've made 1 minute. I mean, not 1 minute. One song videos that are like 4 minutes long before. It's not what I put out there as my primary product, but and kind of on the line of when he was saying before about having it be more about the fun stuff. I've had the reverse. I had a bride who asked me to focus most of the video on the reception because it was her goal to get so intoxicated that she wouldn't remember any of it.
Oh.
Which she, I believe, was quite successful with. And I got some amazing headbanging footage to Killing in the Name of. So that was a beautiful one for me.
Oh, that's fantastic.
But if you said, "Hey, I
my
want
wedding."
Hey, but if Tom was getting married and came and said, "Hey, I'm on the fence about this stuff," or whatever, or "Hey, I know I want one, but I want it to be more about the fun. I don't want it to be more than a couple of minutes about the ceremony." Then I'm totally, it's customizable. It doesn't have to be, before it was so rigid. It was an old dude with a shoulder mount, and he just press record. And then
do you think that'll ever come back? Will hipsters eventually hire old men to hold antiquated technology?
Well, this leads me perfectly into my next question, Brett, because I want to talk to you about the psychology of video camera equipment and technology, because nowadays, like, cameras are getting so good that, and then like almost your iPhone video camera is so good and small that you probably only need something the size of a tiny, like, regular, like, photography camera that also has video capabilities. Like one of your
a
Nikon
digital SLR?
Yeah, SLR. And what I'm saying is that I think people my age and above, because we're dumb old men, if we see someone holding an iPhone, like a videographer or whatever, I'd be like, well, that's cheapo, like amateur hour. I do the same thing when they hold their iPhone up to record in press conferences. I automatically think like, oh, that's
not legitimate news source.
That's the poor one. Even though like a microphone, your microphone in your iPhone is just as good as the big old.
Could be,
you know what I'm saying? Like but it's the psychology of technology. And so,
oh my God, write that down. That's good alliteration.
So in my mind, the bigger the video camera, the more professional it is. I'm thinking like news camera and stuff. And if it's a tiny one, I'm thinking it's less pro and more bobo. Do people think like that? And like, do you have a problem with like if your technology doesn't look like what people expect it to, that they think they hired the poor videographer?
Well, I think that the camera equipment that I use looks legit enough, if you will. I use a DSLR style camera, roughly. I've got a
so
monitor
it's a little
on it
bit
and
bigger.
a microphone.
Yeah, I mean, like,
I from what I've heard in the corporate world, that's more of a problem. If you show up with something smaller and they paid you some huge amount of money to do this really high end thing, you totally could do it with, because some of these DSLRs now are $3,000, $9,000, $6,000, whatever. It's like, just because it's small doesn't mean it's not expensive and good.
Well, I mean, they're amazing.
Well, dumb old men, they see like, why is his camera so small? He's poor. God, he charged me too much. I'm like, I think that probably.
Oh man, I used to get uncomfortable even when we were doing a little bit of video work when I would use my DSLR, and people would look at me like.
They're like,
where's the camera? And I'd be like, well, this is it. They'd be like, well, that's just a regular 35 millimeter, and I'd be like, well, no, this has like. Well, at the time, I was like, well, this would have like 1080p video capability. I'd be like, I don't understand.
And like, why isn't it big? And
and I'm sorry, I'm very distracted right now because did Butler take a poop? Because something's pooping in here.
Oh, it stinks. Is it my sandals?
It's something is. I'm very, very sorry, Brett, but it smells like straight diarrhea in here, and I'm having a problem.
My sandals are a little wet.
Yeah,
but it's bad. But it's not diarrhea.
Whatever it is, I thought what happened last 2 weeks ago was happening again. Is it coming through the walls?
You smell it?
It's coming through the walls, man. Butler's laughing like the Joker. He's laughing like the Joker.
Did you poop up the bathroom?
I don't smell anything yet.
Oh, he's laughing. He did.
He
move
did.
like,
He's Joker laughing.
I don't smell, but you Samantha.
Dude, it comes right in here. I'm sorry, Brett. It's in my
Is it
in
the
my eyes
broken
now.
tiles up there?
Oh my god.
It's
Dude, gonna start falling from the tiles.
It's smashed through the drop down.
Yeah, something.
It's more like a plop down. It
I don't
stinks
smell
in
it.
here. God, I can't work like this anymore. You win. You're our winner.
Sorry,
I
Brett.
can't concentrate.
I want to double back real quick on one of the points of the previous question, which was about the iPhone. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's a poop alarm. It's coming for you now. Get out of there. Get out of that room.
Was the idea that iPhone or cell phone in general quality is so good now. And I mean, maybe unpopular opinion, but it's really not. Not when you use actual professional equipment. I mean, I bought an iPhone 11 hoping that I could use it as an occasional backup angle.
Yeah.
And I can't. In my opinion, from my experience, and maybe I'm doing something wrong, but my iPhone 11 footage isn't even as good as the GoPro that I have, that I use as emergency only backup, very tiny pieces, if at all, during the video. I mean, and I know it's confusing because, your cell phone says 4K, and my camera's 4K. So what's the difference?
Yeah.
Right. But what people don't understand, and how can I expect them to understand, because this is nerdy stuff that is my job, but 4K or HD or whatever is essentially just a container, if you think of it that way. And it matters what's in the container that's valuable, right? You could have a 1 pound container full of gold or a 5 pound container full of trash. Which one would you take?
Brett, I didn't know we were taking a test today. Why are you doing it to me?
Brett, I'm sorry. I'm out of the interview because of the poo-poo smell. I'm out. I'm that much of a
Get back
baby.
in.
I can't get back in. I'm out. And then I declared him the winner. And then Butler's in there laughing like the Joker, and Brett's trying to get you straight on. And I know Tom doesn't know what you're talking about.
No.
I know. He can't even smell the poo-poo. He thinks he's got corona because he can't smell right now. I know this guy's we've switched places.
Brett, okay, how many times have you mic'd up the priest or the father of the bride, and then he goes
takes a big doo-doo.
He takes a doo-doo, or he's talking to his buddies. He's like,
saying blizz
yeah,
piss.
not a
Like,
blizz
remember
piss.
the blizz piss, love us. I ate 3 pounds of ziti. Let's F.
So because people that are not used to wearing lapel mics forget that once you turn them hot, they just stay hot all the time.
Yeah, I've definitely had a couple of those occasions. I've had some guys that ran up to me and try to demand that I delete the file because they realized they'd said something.
You better delete that file, you blizz piss.
I had one wedding where it was just like an hour, or not an hour. I probably put on 30 minutes before the ceremony, and it was like 30 minutes of just racial slurs. Which was interesting.
Oh my God,
I've also had one. I had one groom that I recorded. He was legitimately contemplating leaving before the ceremony.
I'm gonna kill myself.
Yeah,
You're like, I have to delete that.
And then you heard it after. Did he realize later
I'm gonna kill everybody in this church?
Did he tell you
one
hey,
by one.
please don't release what I talk.
Please don't release the beef.
That guy didn't notice that. He didn't put it together. Yeah, it's usually the guys that are going to give the toast or whatever, and they run up, they're like, I was just talking crap about the bride's mom. No, can you please delete this?
Remember, Dan, once you get married, you can never be gay again. All right, okay.
How does that work,
Slap
Brett?
my cheeks. Do it, Dan. Do it.
Legally, is it your property now, or do you have
make them sign off?
Yeah, or do you, because they paid you for it, or is it, how does that work?
I mean, it's in my contract about that. Legally off the top, unless you sign a contract that says work for hire or something like that, I retain the rights to it. Obviously, I would never release anything audio or visual that would be negative or put anyone in a bad light.
Right.
Because that's going to just that's going to wreck me.
Right.
So, that's your reputation, sure.
I mean,
you could do it on your deathbed. I would release them all on your deathbed.
No, with some of that stuff, I cut it right away.
The blackmail charge.
That's true. You're going to have it ready to go like a saw trap.
Well, I mean, they'd have to pay. Be like, hey,
They pay and you release the file.
Yeah, I have you.
I think that's legal too.
Not only do I have your audio of your diarrhea you took, but also the bliss pay.
I have your racist rant and diarrhea audio. I will release one.
Yeah, you have to pay me $10,000
for the
Yeah,
diarrhea.
I only keep a blackmail folder for the BMX guys.
Yeah,
not for the weddings.
Well, they'll never get rich.
No, they won't. They won't. But,
well,
hold on. I need to ask Brett. Okay, what does a wedding video in 2021 cost? If I, let's say I get remarried, Brett.
Yeah.
And
Soapy butt is gone. Out with the crow. In with the yo.
And now I'm obviously going younger with a new one. Yeah, and she's going to be
all electric.
Like, I'll probably start hanging out with Seth and then their friends. And
you start doing karate.
And maybe
you come in here with one of those shaker bottles with some sort of garbage powder in it.
Maybe Seth's girlfriend has a friend that's a little overweight by their standards.
But
for me, I'm like, oh my god,
I love her, dude.
Yeah, 23.
Oh, Big Sally.
Yeah, that's fine. I like it bigger. I like about that stuff. Anyway, so we get married. We do it at the.
Big Sally's got a MMA match.
I'll do it.
I love you, Big Sally.
I'll do it at the veranda because I already have.
Yeah, you already got that locked down.
Me and Big Sally are getting married at the veranda. Everybody, come on down.
Yeah, it's a straight corona.
And I'm gonna hire Brett to take a great diarrhea video of me and Big Sally getting married.
Yeah. And then, so Brett, what do you charge me for that?
Well, as with most things like this, there's a couple of different options, but I'll just give you the right down the middle one. The one that I really hope people take because it allows me to do my best job is $12.50.
No,
that tends to be a little bit on the more affordable side. It's not full on bargain basement stuff.
That's way more of a value than I thought.
Yeah.
I mean, and I appreciate that. I mean, and that's even without the consideration that, I'm bringing, and it sounds like a lot, but I couple them up so it doesn't look as intrusive. But for the ceremony, I'm running like 7 cameras just by myself, multiple audio sources. It's, like 30 hours of editing.
Dude, that's a lot. And I dabble in video editing. And I dabble in that. So I have respect for what you do. Just time spent on the technical side, not even the creative aspect of trying to get a vision for what you want to shoot.
Yeah.
Just time dumping video, converting video, your codecs, all it's, oh my God. 7 cameras? Really? How many gigs for one wedding? How many gigs are you collecting?
Brett, is it possible for you to do both? Can you do the videography and the photography?
Short answer, no. That would be a really bad idea. I am
wouldn't be able
running.
to focus on one.
I am running like full speed. I
Tom
have an opportunity to drink water maybe twice a day in the day,
right,
type of thing. And just
water.
looking at the cameras around.
Free booze, right? That's what
you're supposed to be stealing those raspberry White Claws, man.
It's an open bar.
Yeah, my God, try that new black cherry, or no, not black cherry, blueberry, blackberry, whatever it is. I don't know the purple one. Get the purple drink.
Yeah, I know some people who there are still few and far between that offer photography, and then they'll say like, we'll make a little video.
Yeah.
And it'll be like occasionally they'll click it on and they'll make like some 30-second thing. But the thing is, if you're doing one as just one person, those major moments, the rings, the I do, the kiss, the dances, the intros, whatever, you have to pretty much just do one or the other. So it's going to be photography for the main stuff and video for, just scraps basically. And hey, maybe there's somebody out there who's amazing and they can do it. I'm not saying you can't. I'm saying both people can't. So yeah, I wouldn't do that. And to follow up on Dan's question about how many gigabytes it is, whether it's on site for 6 hours or 14, clearly that's a big difference, but it's anywhere between 300 to 800 gigs.
Yeah, I know Tom and I wrangle with that in here, just space, and we had to upgrade our computer just to do more video this year. So now to put it in perspective, we'll work on like one of our shows that's like 3 hours. We'll be close to like 17. This guy's working with hundreds of
gigabytes.
Hundreds of giggies. Yeah, Tom calls them giggy, and then he yells Impractical Jokers.
I don't know what it is.
Hey, my favorite cereal is Giggy Bites.
Sal, put your hand in the salad bar, Sal.
Brett, how many? I just figured we'd go the full and split
we
it.
got 1 minute left.
1 minute.
We owe it to Brett for being so stupid.
How many obliterated, drunk, best men speeches have you heard that are embarrassing?
Really not as many as you would think. They might be obliterated, but they I mean, they're a little slurry, but they don't go too far usually.
Have you ever seen any genitalia?
Not genitalia. No.
Okay, boobs though, right? Boobs.
Only one time where they intentionally did it.
Yeah,
I'm very respectful. I leave the room when they're getting dressed. I'm not trying to do it. The bride turned. I said, "Oh, I should head out." When she's about to put the dress on, and she was like, "Well, what are you scared of boobs?" I was like, "What?" And then she just dropped the robe. On purpose.
She was
I seen that porno.
You should have led with that story. My God, I've seen that one before. Oh my God, you could have wrecked the whole wedding, but you're too nice and professional.
Did you film it?
I was recording at the time, and I just dropped the camera because not trying to.
He's respectful.
Look bad. But just since I know we're short on time,
I throw the camera over my. I rip all my clothes off.
Trying to show you.
I'd be like, I'm crazy. Take me away, my wife. I hate her. Help me. Take me with you. Let's run away. Jump in the convertible. Let's drive away.
Sorry, Brett.
That's fine.
All right. Well, that it actually for
sounds like a fun job
for what you charge. I think you charge too little.
Yeah, because
you
could charge more.
Wedding photographers.
I think he has different packages, but yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I got screwed.
That's
then.
pretty good price.
That's a great price.
I could have added that to my wedding, and I probably really liked it.
I got some Bobo.
That's on the lower side or low, mid to low, whatever.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of people who do 15, 18, 2000, 2500. I mean, obviously all the way up to a guy who used to do BMX filming who went on to do weddings before he then went on to corporate work. He had maxed out his weddings at 15,000 a wedding.
Ooh.
Before he left. So clearly,
we
and I know there's a girl on Facebook who applies for every wedding who charges $500 for all day coverage and one-handed holds a handycam from Best Buy. So there really is the entire spectrum, as Tom would love, a spectrum of everything.
Yeah, he does enjoy a good spectrum.
Well, except
for the actual company, which is weird.
At that point, why don't you just have your buddy with his iPhone film the whole thing?
We're gonna do the iPhone thing again.
At that point, then yes.
Well, yeah, for the $500, some stranger just tell your buddy is like, hey, just film as much as you can, and then that's good enough. All right, Brett.
Well, where can people get a hold of you if they want a reasonably priced, awesome wedding video?
Well, thank you. My website is either my full name, brettrolfing.com, which of course no one will know how to spell, or Brett, BRETTR, video.com, or you can look up Brett Rolfing Videography on Facebook.
It's amazing that you were able to...
I bet they bullied you crazy in BMX world. Ralphing's here. He's got his cameras again.
No, I only heard once that Rolfing sounds like a term for vomiting. But other than that, not too much.
Yeah, that's what
Ralphing,
you just Ralphed. Me and the other BMX dodos for sure. Bully you crazy.
Well, brother, thanks for coming on the show and take care of yourself, okay?
Thank you for letting me have the time.
All right, man. Be good. That is Brett, our winner of Weird Job Wednesday.
Ralph!
It is another corporate time with Tom and Dan. I am Dan.
I'm Tom.
Hello there, Sam. How are you?
I'm
Butler
good.
is here. The fish are here. We're easing into the weekend, buddy. Almost there.
Yeah.
Almost there.
And, again, the Tom and Dan Land Cruise happening this Saturday at Dr. Phillips. Now, this is the first time I've talked about this, but we are going to attempt to broadcast it on Twitch.
What?
And we're still in the process of figuring that all out.
Forgot about that.
But we'll definitely let everybody know if we're going to do it. I guess we'll only know on Saturday if it's successful or not. But so if you're not going,
know when it starts.
If you're out of town or not going, you may be able to watch it live on Twitch.
Yep.
So anyway, we have one of our great sponsors on the line.
Yeah, it's always fun when we get to talk to Skylar from True Leave, which is our medical marijuana partner. How you doing, Skylar?
I'm doing good. How are you all doing?
Good.
Very, very well.
So
Good.
Skylar, I go by the True Leave in Longwood. That's the one closest to my house.
Yep.
I'm a colonial man myself.
And
Okay.
and then I landed in the happy hour, and then I was so pleasantly surprised. I was like, "Oh, I forgot about this." Like, even though we've talked about it a million times, I'm like, I fall into the happy hour. It's good. That's a nice surprise. And I love that True Leave does that.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's very random too that we do it, but we do it pretty often, and you have to take advantage of it. I mean, if you take advantage of happy hour going to a bar with your friends, you should definitely take advantage of the happy hour going to get cannabis at a discounted rate.
Yeah, and you can see the things and the products that are very popular. Like I have sort of fallen in love with something that I think is a little bit hard to find that you guys have, and it's those Bellows and the Bellows pods. Like,
okay.
I really like them. They're very small, easy to conceal, and very smooth. And they use haptic technology to let you know when you're using the inhalation, to let you know when it's dispensing and when it's not. And I absolutely love it. Plus, the battery life. The battery will last you about a month. It's insane good, but it's very hard to find. So I would urge people. I think there's some money off today. You got to get on those websites fast. Oh God, I'm dropping cans.
Also, Skylar, this is very embarrassing, and it blew all of our minds, but Daniel's almost reached his inhalation limit of THC. And we're like, what?
Go there.
And we even screamed at Butler because we're like,
to
well,
the moon.
And then Butler's like, I've never even done that, bro. Like, we were surprised.
I'm there.
So
I'm in the platinum circle.
So, Skylar, any new locations opening that we should know about?
Yeah, so we have 2 new locations opening next week. As you are probably aware, on a week from today will be 420, which is a national holiday in the cannabis world. So we have a lot of stuff coming up. We opened our 79th location last week in Dunedin, which is like right outside of Clearwater.
Yeah.
And so we are opening, so we'll be at 80 by next week, 81 by next week. So it's going to be really, really busy for us. We launched with our partner OPEN. I'm sure you all have tried some of the OPEN vapes and stuff. They have a 420, because it's actually the 50 years of 420, which I think I talked about last month. But they have a 426 vape cartridge, or vape pen, I'm sorry. And it is incredible. If you haven't seen it, like the artwork on it, I love that type of stuff though, but you will have to look it up. And we're selling those in our stores all through 420. And so I think it's gonna be a really big week for us, as it always is. And last year we couldn't really do it. Oh yeah, no, our OPENs are incredible. They're probably one of the number one.
Yeah, I like those. Those are the ones I was telling you about, Tom, that they have some cured resin products that are like maybe a little more THC heavy, but for those of us that suffer from anxiety and insomnia, especially, like I can't sleep well at night, it's an excellent, just put you right to sleep like a little baby.
So, Skylar, before we were talking to you on the show, we were going over a Samantha. Where is it again?
So there's an event, a 420 festival coming up that you guys are going to be a part of. You're a gold sponsor of in St. Pete Beach.
Oh yeah,
it's this Sunday.
Yep.
So, Skylar, we were talking about, like, Samantha was going over all the stuff that's happening there, and one of the things is
you have designated areas for people to medicate.
Yeah, there's like medication tents, and I didn't know that was a thing, or we could do that. So,
how does that work?
Is that new?
So it's going to depend on the space. So this is like a doctor's facility. It's in St. Pete. It's called the Center. It's on St. Pete Beach, and they have a doctor's office there. They have like a meditation room there. So it's very like a holistic approach for the whole building, right? They do yoga. They do all kinds of stuff. So you can, from my understanding, you can go, and if there's a designated area, you can use your cannabis. You can't just walk around willy-nilly, right?
Right.
Lots of people do that, but you're not supposed to. This event is, there's so many events happening next week. The first one actually started last week, but we're also going to have an expungement clinic there for people who are eligible as well. So there's going to be a lot of stuff happening there. I think that there's like a hemp bake-off where we're going to use like CBD, right? And then people are going to bring in different recipes with CBD, and you can try different things. Obviously, we can't do it with cannabis because you would have to have your card.
Sure.
There's going to be a lot of stuff there. It's going to be a pretty cool event.
My wife makes some CBD baby back ribs that will take the inflammation
Really?
out of your knees.
Ooh, okay.
Really good.
Skylar, not that you're a lawyer. I don't want to ask you lawyer questions because this is a question for Mo, I think, and
this is Skylar on the line right now.
We'll remember it for Mo, but it's I guess we're all just trying to figure it out as it goes. But if you're like you have your medical card and you're allowed to have your medicine, then has the state said where you're allowed to use your medicine?
That's a great question.
Or is it because I guess it's still illegal to use it in public per se, but if you were in a private building, no matter what private building, you could use your medicine? Is it still like they're still trying to figure it out? Like, obviously, I don't want to ask you a lawyer question, but to your knowledge, how does that work?
So, from my understanding, the laws are always like a gray area, but to my understanding, and like I think you guys said you should ask an attorney, you have to use it in the privacy of your own home, obviously, right? You can't share your medicine with anyone, even if you're both cannabis patients. You're not supposed to share your medicine, which kind of doesn't really make sense to me, but whatever.
Yeah.
I also get it, I guess, because, like, it is what it is. And then anywhere that's private. So, like, we can deliver places, but you're technically not allowed to use. So, like, let's say you're in the hospital, right? We can deliver your medicine to the hospital, but you're not supposed to use it in the hospital because it's publicly owned.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense?
What about the gift shop where they have all the religious teddy bears?
But then,
I mean, that's you.
Find some workaround. Supply closet.
But I guess
it's weird. It's so weird.
If there's like a wellness center and there's a doctor involved, like I guess you can go into his office and smoke weed.
I'm in Dr. Dre's office.
I
got my O-pen and here I go.
Well, all of this is just like where it's it's new, so there's all this we don't know. There's no I think case law to even.
And a lot of it has to do with just be cool, bro. Right? I mean, I think a lot of it is use common sense, be cool, bro.
It's all subjective.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you could have like a place where patients can use their cannabis, but it has to be private. It has to be approved. Like, there's like a lot of stuff that goes into it.
We should buy a building in Orlando, and we should set up the first private medication, Tom and Dan's medication clinic where you could just go.
Dude, medication station, of course I would.
Oh, you know what? This is why your name's first. This is why your name's first. That is so good, medication station.
Yeah.
It's the newest sensation.
Yeah. It's so weird. Like, you can't use cannabis on a boat. Right? It's weird.
What? Wow. I didn't know. You should have told me sooner.
It's so weird. Like, you can't obviously at your work or like.
Well, what do we do now, Skylar? We can't drive a boat without cannabis. And at work, I've got it in my hand right now. I'm holding my bellows pod right now in my hand.
I know. It's the law is so weird. I think I can send information too, but I want to say it's like Senate Bill 8A, and then that describes like where you can and cannot use cannabis.
Yeah, like originally when I first got my recommendation, I would get in my car, drive around Orlando. I would end up backing into like a parking lot of like a daycare, and then I just sit on the roof and just too crazy. And I realized early on that is just not what you're supposed to do. Listen, privacy, your own home.
All this doesn't matter because we live in a day and age where we can go into True Leaf. It's a delightful experience.
It really is.
And we can buy delightful products that are awesome, and we can take them home and enjoy.
And sit there.
It's so good.
I can watch a documentary
I'm never going to be mad at that.
I can watch a documentary on death. Orlando's and Florida's original death metal band. I watched that documentary last night, and I learned a lot. It was really good.
So So a bunch of things going on, obviously, in 420. That's why I follow True Leaf's social media. Like, also, I follow True Leaf social so I can find out what they have constant sales.
Well, they have a sale today.
They let you know when.
I think vape carts are on sale today.
Yeah, 35% off.
Yep. So 35 is nothing to sneeze at. Skylar, it's always a pleasure talking to you. We certainly appreciate it.
Yes, of course.
Tell your team we said hey, and we'll look forward to talking to you again very, very soon.
You too. Y'all have a good week.
All right. See ya. That is our friend Skylar.
Oh, I got some 9-pound hammer concentrate.
Oh, that's what I got.
Yeah, I get the one that's in the little syringe.
Oh, it's great.
You have to warm it up with your fingers for a couple seconds.
You know, you don't have to. I realize you don't have to do that. I take a small shot glass of warm water and I.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That
well,
works too.
It's just easier than.
Or you can just palm it in your hand for 20 Mississippis.
I'm doing it in a panic while I'm hiding from the crow.
Okay,
This is in the dark.
In the dark.
Like she's calling my name and I'm frozen. I'm just trying to warm it up.
Come on, get hot. Get hot.
And
Just one little drip for Daddy. One little drip.
Yeah. Yeah. She's coming.
She's pecking at the door. She's pecking at the door.
I'll take it all. Cyanide capsule. Anyway,
so we gonna set up this medication station?
I'm sure business owners have tried to figure out a way to do this to capitalize on it. I think it's too much of a.
Can we become a location on Weed Maps?
No, I don't want that heat up. Like it's still too.
Don't put the heat on us, bro.
Don't put the heat on us.
Yeah. I'm still, I'm a legitimate businessman.
Still running from the law.
When I see the cops, I'm like, I'm still traumatized because I was riding dirty for so many years.
Yeah,
I'm like always paranoid.
We changed our game after we got rid of our accountants that were a little, you know what I mean. They like to party a little bit. So we went on the straight and narrow. It felt different. It certainly felt different when we hooked our wagon to Bernie, and I felt like we were, changing our ways a little bit, getting out of the game.
So, with the medication station,
it's blowing your mind that people could go to this place on 420 and celebrate.
What's the first time I've heard of it?
And you walk around like let's say you're at, because in my mind, follow me here.
Honestly,
we will come to
I
a
take
time.
pills, so I just take them whenever I want, anytime I want.
But
It doesn't matter.
There is an idea here where you could go to like a surf festival or like a cannabis festival, and you could be walking around, and a gentleman could say, "Oh, this is a new product I have. This is a new strand that I made." By crossing this in, would you like to try toot? And it's allowed, right? Like
kind of like a beer fest.
And it'd be like, let me see your card. Yeah, you don't want kids running. Let me see your medical. Okay, because your medical marijuana card or your recommendation, does it have a barcode on the back? Because wouldn't it be as easy as, there's your card, I look at your picture, yes, that's you, swipe it into the government computer. It knows that you're at the thing, and then I give you your hermetically sealed little taster toot of whatever.
We're not getting there anytime soon.
No.
Because
not anytime soon, but it will get there, right? Or no?
California and Colorado don't even do that. Like Washington, it's just because
but doesn't
the state,
it seem
the
weird?
state doesn't want them to hand out because.
But with a fake ID, you can come in and I can booze you up, and then you can just drive home and.
Yeah, the hypocrisy, of course. I mean, we could talk about that all day long. I'm just saying, realistically, the states probably don't let any of these dispensaries do that. And also, maybe the dispensaries don't want to do that just because we live in a day and age that all of a sudden on social media, some like 13-year-old is holding your product and then putting, what I'm saying? And then they don't want that. So it's like, they don't want the bad publicity of something like that happening. I'm just thinking of all the different liabilities of handing out something free. Even though you're right,
I've thought of that.
You can hand out free alcohol, and they used to do it with cigarettes.
They used to give me cigarettes in Big Belly.
The bars, that's how
they give me a Zippo lighter, a couple packs of these new whatever they were pushing.
I wonder for Weird Job Wednesday, we should get a person that did the cigarette promotions at bars.
I know a guy
for like Camel.
Oh man,
I know a
comedian.
I know a comedian that was in charge of it.
I can walk around with backpacks.
Yes.
Yeah, there's an improv guy and a comedian buddy of mine that I haven't talked to him in a minute, but he used to be. He worked a team, right?
Yeah,
I think he worked his way up to he was in charge of the girls and guys, and they did both because they were smart. You'd have the good-looking younger guy
Approach the ladies,
approach the team of girls that's out for, their friend's birthday, and then you'd have the hot girls approach me, and I was a sucker for the Zippo and the free cigarettes every time. Not so much for the hot girls, but I like smoking cigarettes. It was free cigarettes.
Yeah.
Cigarettes are expensive.
Yeah.
I would take it was a weird promotion because I would think, I'm like, this isn't going to make me start smoking Winston's or whatever.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I smoked the same cigarette.
You're not that guy, though. I actually switched from Marlboro to Camels based on this guy I'm
Really?
talking about.
Really?
Yeah, he gave me some. You're not
Crushes,
a packaging.
the Camel Crush?
You're not a mark. You're not a consumer guy. You don't like things.
Or just
like,
stick with
you're,
what
You're
I
not a
know.
hook. You don't notice the things. Like, he gave me some Camel. I remember they were, what do you call it? The menthol. And
Yeah.
I was a menthol guy. Sorry. Extra trashy. Trashy with sprinkles
Yeah,
of extra
same.
trashy on top. You were a menthol gal?
Yeah.
Oh, fist bump. And us menthol cats got to stick together. So I tried the Camel menthol ones. They were supposed to be extra mentholy, and I think I liked them.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I'm going to switch because he gave me an assload of coupons. I had the Zippo, the matching Zippo. Well, why not?
Menthol's a Florida thing. I use a menthol
It's a
smoker
trash
too.
thing.
Yeah,
My dad was a
It's real.
menthol.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
dad smoked Salem Ultralight.
Yeah.
Menthol cigarettes.
I was smoking Newport Lights in high school, and then
Oh, Norm's a menthol man. Fist bump
I
to
knew
you,
it,
Norm.
Norm.
then I Marlboro Mediums. I did those for a while.
Whoa.
The blue pack.
Did you ever get into the Marlboro Smooths, buddy?
No.
Oh,
I dabbled
that's like
in some
peppermint
Smooths.
Marlboros.
Yeah, I dabbled
That's
in
after
Smooth.
my, or was that Smooths, like in you smoked days?
Yeah. All of that stuff. I remember. Do you remember Camel Wides?
Yeah.
They were like the shorter, wider cigarettes, and
yeah.
I never forget. Somebody was trying to insult me. They said you should smoke those cigarettes because your body styles that cigarette.
Oh my
I'm like,
god.
oh, that was a good joke.
I like that,
That's
man.
pretty funny.
The smoking, I don't know too many people that smoke nowadays. Like a
told
couple of my friends were holding out still, but they've since stopped.
I told my daughter last night that I smoked
Yeah.
Well,
because we were having dinner conversation, and Maisie asked if any of us have ever been in the hospital. And I said, yeah, I went to the hospital one time. Remember when I just smoked crazy, anxiety, and I went to the hospital, I was having heart palpitations. It's obviously anxiety and just being general unhealthiness.
Yeah.
And they put me in the cardiac observation unit at the hospital. And I told my daughter this. She's like, why were you there? I was like, because I smoked cigarettes. I was smoking too many cigarettes. And the look of horror on her face when I said that. And then Andrea was like, of course, like, but he stopped. He hasn't smoked. She's like covering up for me.
Oh, but you told her you
I
started at one point. It was cool, and
I did. I told her, and one day you
Back
will.
when Daddy was cool.
I said, one day you will smoke. And that's when you'll be probably drunk,
my boys.
promiscuous.
They found a cigarette butt in the hot tub.
I know why. Yeah, I know why, too.
And they're like,
Yeah, because you're like, all my
What
friends.
is this? They
all
know
my-
what it is?
All my friends stop smoking, but we smoke every night.
no, I don't do it. I don't smoke.
Does your
but-
mom still smoke?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
She's
So they do
never-
know what cigarettes are.
Oh yeah, they call them, and then they don't call it a cigarette, but they're like, ew, smoker. They call it a smoker, like.
Do they say that to grandma? Oh my god.
Ew.
Yeah. You know what they call the cigarettes a smoker.
Oh, they call him a smoker.
Yeah, they're like a goddamn jet ski rider in Waterworld.
Jet ski rider in water.
And they're like, yeah,
smoker.
And then I'm like, oh god, and then I have to swat it out. And then I look at my wife.
Is
I'm
that
like,
from is that from Crow Camel?
yeah. Well, she throw it outside, and then a wind blows it in. And then I'm like, God,
Aren't you supposed to walk and put it
What
over
are
the
we? I
fence?
thought we
into
were
the-
rich.
You walk over and put it over the fence into the neighbor's yard. You
That's
start
what
a
I told her.
small forest fire.
Oh man.
Burned your whole fence up because you had to drop your cigarette over the fence.
But their idea of cigarettes is way like they look at it like this is real bad. This is bad. You know.
So
like,
if they saw,
Oh,
if
we
they
make-
saw anything, would it peel back the innocence and ruin their lives?
oh well, yeah, they saw Crystal.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I don't
yeah.
like to talk about it because that's your business, and I know when to draw the line.
Yeah,
I wasn't going to say
they
the
can never,
crow's been
Crystal
lighting up. but-
Never show them that.
yeah, but I'm saying there is the possibility, especially since you run it real loose on the
Yeah.
bedroom, that she's out there enjoying a 1 a.m. Toot, which is, you know what?
Here's the advantage.
Do it,
Mind your
because
business,
life
yeah.
is short, man.
My sons didn't get my wife's hypervigilance. They got
Yeah, they're aloof, like you.
We were literally taking I cleaned up their toy room over the weekend, and I just took garbage bags of plastic toys in there to go donate. And Chris was like, "Don't let the boys see." But Max is real tight.
Yeah.
They are sitting in the living room. I'll walk by into the garage with all this stuff. They'll never look up once. And I did it. I'm holding things, not even in bags, like some
it's all making noises.
Like it's going in, like, and
it's playing the songs from the shows because the buttons are being pushed in the trash.
And they're like drawing on some paper. Where they never looked up. Like I think Max looked at me, still didn't notice. You know what I'm saying? Like just don't notice anything.
I love it.
So you literally get away with anything.
From our Twitch chat room, which can sometimes be funny and sad, Mike B chiming in. Let's see here. It says, I had a Marlboro sleeping bag, a Marlboro sweater, a duffel bag. I looked like a 12-year-old Marlboro man had.
Yeah. Like my stepdad got all the miles and had a big duffel bag. I used it as a paintball bag for a while. Then
they were nice bags.
They were nice bags. Yeah. Like all of the Marlboro Miles products were pretty damn good. Mm-hmm. There are people that still have the rafts. They still have the NASCAR jackets, or like athletic jackets.
That stuff, like back then, was it like made in America? Like that stuff was still made in China, right?
Couldn't have been. Yeah. No.
It was for sure just the regular Chinese factory.
Oh my God, Ghost of Manubel's freaking out because he too used his Marlboro bag as a paintball bag.
Of course you did.
Because you live in Florida. Trash. Yeah.
All of us have something in common if we all live in Florida. We all look at each other like, all right.
Tom's been saying this and it will catch on, but we're all more alike than we are different.
Yeah. We're all around the same socioeconomic, this whole group.
He's trying to get on your good side now. He said he had a Titman Model 98.
Oh, a Titman paintball gun? Yeah, I had a VM68.
Whoa, they're throwing out the lingo, folks.
Titman were for the poros.
Why would
they made pump guns.
You guys were bonding, and then
I was just saying what the paintball industry, bro.
Yeah, but you were spoiled. Your mom bought you the latest and greatest, and this guy's had a pump gun, and you look down on him.
Some old Walmart Titman he bought at Sports Authority.
You're gonna shoot him in his fat buds.
Did you get a plastic goggles?
Why are you clowning him,
a pack of 100 paintballs in the cardboard box?
That's one of the meanest things you've ever done. I'm aghast that you are one of the nicest people I know, and you get this guy.
I'm just giving the business because that's what happened on the paintball field, bro.
He said his Tipman. He continues. My Tipman had a dedicated CO2 canister, and it was a semi-auto.
Oh yeah, that's a whole 1996.
And then Boosh he chimes in. He says Spider all the way. Are we just gonna have an old fat dad paintball war?
Spider was another
cheapo.
Yeah, cheapo.
Even I know that.
yeah. Spider, Titman. That's right.
I looked at all paintball guys as just band guys who like guns.
Yeah, Auto Cocker, which always made me laugh every time because you know what? I was gonna talk about this when we were talking to Brett with Weird John.
I would talk about paintball with Skylar from True Leave.
But people get mad about the term nerd because I think in our age demographic that was a derogatory term.
But you didn't want to be a nerd.
It's not. It doesn't mean the same thing nowadays. Like if you are, everybody's a nerd. Like Brett.
Bushy?
No.
It was gonna roll off your tongue. You've
Tom
been
Brady.
So trained.
Tom Brady is a football nerd, and most of the guys that are playing in the NFL are football nerds, and then all the coaches are nerds. Everybody that's into something that much and dedicates their life to something is a nerd.
I hate to burst everybody's bubble and make them sad, but most anybody who's like really killing it right now in their particular
every
area
guitarist and every band's a nerd.
I'm reading a book right now. This morning I started, I'm on chapter 4 of Talib Kweli's book called Vibrate Higher. He's a famous rapper, and he is a massive nerd. Like, he goes through his childhood, and basically his entire childhood, he starts like connecting the dots of different rappers and how they were all nerds.
Yeah.
You know, like in different ways. Like, it's very, very interesting. I highly recommend the book.
Especially if you're an adult too, like because remember I was when I was making the joke of like everybody was nerd in my standards in high school, that if you were into anything, if you were a part of anything, if you had any school spirit or into any sort of recreational activity, you know what I'm saying? But then otherwise, if you're not into anything and not like into anything popular or a part of anything, you're just a loser.
Well,
but that's what I consider cool. Like you were just a
loner.
You smoke weed at you'll never leave your parents' house. You're a loser.
Yeah,
like
you don't think about Talib Kweli. Like, what's interesting about him is he was an inner city kid, but like he loved outdoors. So his thing was fish tanks. but not for fish. He'd do it for reptiles. So he would collect broken fish tanks from all different people, and then he'd keep bringing back weird animals to put in there, and he'd learn how to feed them. He'd learn how to keep them alive, and then he became like a reptile and like an animal nerd, and it's interesting to think though. Yeah,
even if you were real into hip hop and like freestyle rap and like you're just a lyricist nerd. You know what I'm saying? Like all those guys are crazy.
He ran all the time. Yeah, you listen to the guy's lyrics. You're like, this guy's a genius because look at all the words he knows. Yeah. You don't know all those words. But it's like
Eminem like reads the dictionary for it's like they're all nerds. All
nerds.
To get to the best of the best, you have to be a nerd.
My teacher was right. The nerds of today will drive the Lamborghinis of tomorrow.
They got the Mark Cuban, Every, the owner in the NFL. There's some nerd, and Jerry Jones is some oil nerd. You know what I'm saying? Like, and now he's like an NFL nerd. It's just all nerds. Anyway, bye-bye.
Welcome back to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I am Dan.
I'm Tom.
Samantha is here, and Butler still on the lam from the law.
What do you do now?
Nobody knows. Nobody wants to know. Let's do this thing so we do not run out of time.
Yeah. Nerds. Yeah. Nerds. Yeah. Nerds.
Jock, nerd, jock, nerd.
Yeah.
It's Nerd Jock with EJ. How you doing, EJ?
Good. How are you guys doing? I'm looking forward to Saturday.
What's Saturday?
I'm getting my vaccine shot in the morning, and then I'm going to some land cruise thing they're talking about on the news, I thought.
I'm getting mine on the 19th, my second one. Are you getting is that your second dose?
I'm getting the first one now.
The one and done?
No, I heard they put a pause on the one.
Oh, did they?
One and done. Yeah, the Johnson & Johnson, they put a pause on it because people were having brain tumor clots or something like that.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that story.
Brain tumor clot.
Yeah.
It's probably some but if it happens to one person, they have to put a pause on it. Just because they're like, we're gonna make sure this is not.
I think you should give it like five solid clots.
Yeah.
I don't think it should be a one clot and pulling. What if the clot was already there and you didn't know?
Well, anybody hears one clot and they're like, that could happen to me. Even though
one clot, you can get two clots.
Statistically,
I am not a clot fan. That word, the whole thing, is just not good.
So,
EJ, what do you want to start with?
You know what? Let's start with sports stuff. And I picked this one out because I think I got a story for each one of you this week. The first one I got is kind of Tom, because he talked about going to Europe and seeing Naked American Gladiators. They're going to do an American Gladiators documentary on ESPN for the 30 for 30.
I like this.
This is good. Muscle T documentary.
The shoot, Sky, her daughter went to our high school, Sam.
Okay.
I know.
Back to you, EJ. Yeah. Sam's impressed. Wow.
So it's like me, Amari Stoudemire, and Sky's daughter went to our high school.
What about me? I'm not included in the alumni?
No, you just gave me crap about that and didn't mean to be. So
I don't remember any of the American Gladiator names. And normally I would zap. There's one.
I don't remember any of the names.
There's Thunder. Is Thunder one of them?
Yeah, chances are if you say something.
Zap, Thunder, Lightning. I mean,
am I
Bufo?
Am I right in thinking that I'm thinking American Gladiators was on longer than it actually was? Like I feel
I'm sure it was in syndication.
Yeah,
probably when the Team 30 kids were coming up. You know
Doesn't
what I mean?
It roll around country to country,
Probably.
And it's in syndication, and like, is it one of those shows that just will never die? It'll be around forever.
I think
probably.
I think it was.
It went from 1989 to 1996, so it was still on when I was a little kid.
That's a long time.
7 years. Yeah, that's a good. See, Seth Rogen is supposed to like try to re-release it again, but not with a Hulk Hogan because he got booed.
Am I right in thinking that the actual prize at the end was minuscule, right? Like it was nonsense. It was one of these like all these guys.
Well,
these
you got to be
guys,
a gladiator, right? That was the hook, was that you get to be one of them.
If you win.
Yeah, I think the hook was, look, if Tom Van goes to American Gladiators and you're fighting Dynamite or, Zap or whatever, and you win, then you get to pick your own name and you become the new gladiator.
They did get money. The first 5 seasons, $10,000 cash was awarded for winning the half-season finals, and then runners-up in these finals were guaranteed $5,000. Contenders that lost in the semifinal rounds were guaranteed $2,500.
So I'm 100% wrong. I always thought you got to be a gladiator.
I mean, that could be a thing too.
Because
the first season, a couple of the guys got booted up to be gladiators. I remember seeing that. Like, what was I think Gemini was a contestant the very first season.
I think it was a black guy that won, and then he became
Gemini was black.
Yeah, and then he became the guy, and then I was like, oh, I like that guy because you could, you had character development. You could kind of follow their story through their show.
I would love to watch this because it's probably a bunch of like former gladiators talk about how horrible the set was and how janky. Yeah, because that's usually how it is. Like you see it on TV.
Price is Right.
Yeah, but the like the tennis ball gun. I think I've heard that before.
That never worked.
That never worked. It was always had problems.
And jam all the time, right?
Yeah.
Can we buy one of those? The technology's there now, right?
Oh yeah.
Didn't you just shoot one on a golf course or something?
Well, that and now with the CO2 and stuff, I mean, you could build is a potato gun, but that one had like a huge.
We built one. We shot it in Daniel's back bedroom at the original studio. Remember?
It was a T-shirt cannon.
Yeah, that wasn't the same. We put baloney in that.
But all it is,
we did put something else in that. I don't want to say.
We put my wife's panties, and
and
then we shot them around the room.
It's just like a potato gun with a way to refill the balls, like with a bolt action. You pull back, a ball falls in, and you shoot it with compressed air.
It sounds fun as hell.
So
you're right, Dan. The initial idea was that the winner of each 13-week tournament would join the crew of gladiators for the next tournament. But then as it got more popular, they offered money.
Pumping it out, get some money. Because that's just not enough, to go with what Tom's saying. It's like, you get hurt. You could be a guy that owns gyms, you're a fitness man, and you're like, man, that's not worth my time to go down there. You have to give me some money. I go down there and be a gladiator, so I get to work for you now?
What's crazy, though, is the viewership back then was so much higher. Like, I bet American Gladiators, and during like its prime time, had more audience than any show on TV right now, for sure.
Yeah.
Just because there was so little channels. But all right, EJ, what else you got?
Okay, the next story I have, I sent a video to Sam about a bowler.
Yeah,
Did you see the video of the guy looks just like somebody we all know, and he picked up a 7-10 split. Pretty impressive.
I did see a viral video circulating that said like bowler picks up 7-10 split. That's still,
I think that's the one you're talking about.
Still the hardest shot in bowling.
I think it would be considered one of them, right? Oh, that's not the right one.
And so how popular is bowling nowadays, you think? Is it as unpopular as ever?
I think
it's going to have like some sort of renaissance?
I think it's going to come back because I play that stupid Xbox video game on there, and you can still see that there's tons of money being pumped into it because everything on that video game is sponsored by a big name company. Like, you'd have to see the game to see how many different major sponsors have tagged onto this, and they use all the real guys. So they're trying really hard, I think, to pump it up. But if I had to guess, based on bowling alleys around here being knocked down, I don't know, man. Probably not very good, right?
I heard this past week that Boardwalk Bowl had like a 2-hour wait to go bowling. The last time I went to a place that had a bowling alley inside of it, it was all the lanes were packed. So I mean, it is a family-friendly sport, I guess.
Okay, here, I got it. I got it ready to go here.
Now that people are moving again after the pandemic, I'm sure they were running out to do...
Pandemic, but this was during the pandemic. I saw people going crazy. Oh, yeah.
Well, I guess you're in your
sanitary, but
you're in your own lane.
Are they cleaning the balls?
Yeah, but I saw something that's like you're not getting coronavirus from surface. It's like a 0.001% chance.
Processes.
Here it goes.
Look at this guy's shirt.
And especially winning a major.
But who does it look like to you guys?
I'll get to those processes.
It looks like the Gingers don't have souls, kid.
Again, you can see that ball breaking loose early.
All right.
7-10.
So he has a 7-10 split, which the back to far corner.
Oh, by the way, this guy's in the game. Buttriff, the guy he's playing, is in the game as one of the guys you have to beat.
Oh, and he wears American flag.
Yeah, they got all the same shirts, their signatures.
That's a gimmick. Right?
Yeah, all the hats, the real balls are in there, the whole
nine.
nine.
Face leaving the 7-10. The 7-10.
So to make a 7-10 split, you have to hit either the 7-10 or the 10-10 all the way on the outside, right?
Oh, so what
And
he
hits it
did,
across.
he took it on the inside.
and then it bounced off the wall.
Yeah, like I'm learning a lot about bowling because in the game they tell you what you do. Like if you're sweeping your ball across the face and you go too far to the left-hand side or to the right-hand side with the amount of spin you put on it, they call it going Brooklyn, and you can still pick up the strike by spreading the pins all the way across the opposite side. It's just you're not going to get as much coverage, right? If you're just doing physics, right? It's called going Brooklyn. And what this guy did, just for the viewers, he came on the inside of the 710. He hit the inside pin on the right-hand side, and then it hit the right wall and then bounced backwards to the left to get the other pin.
See, that's less impressive than if you hit it on the outside and it shot across.
I agree.
That seems like a smaller margin of error, right? Like, so I feel like, and there's tons of bowlers that have hit the 710 split on the outside, knocking the pin over, because it feels like cheating when you're bouncing it off the wall, right?
I
mean, not that it is, but it's just like that seems easier than the outside.
I've only done it one time in the video game, and I did it the way you described. I did it from the outside over.
Yeah, so it doesn't touch anything but the other pin.
Right, and it slid. What it does, the pin falls over and then slides on its side.
It spins.
And then kind of whacks the other pin over.
You should get charged less, or like for strikes that the last pin like is like whoa, and then it's like that's okay. Technically, it's a strike, but it should be an asterisk on that. You know, like a strike is like.
So
the Barry Bonds rule.
You wouldn't like this game, but that'll happen sometimes. You'll have a pin that'll be, and then it'll automatically give you a spare, even though this thing's gonna fall. It's gonna fall. It's just taking too long, and they're like, "We don't have time for this. We're Xbox spare. Move on, fat dad. You only have 15 minutes to play your video games."
Next story.
Okay, the next story.
You went to call Ross.
I did. I stopped myself.
That's fine. It's allowed.
They're all the same.
Okay, the next story I have is kind of a crossover between Jock and Nerd. The WNBA is coming out with new jerseys, and they're the Rebel editions. But the one from the Indiana Fever is a Stranger Things themed jersey.
Oh, that's cool.
It looks pretty cool. It's kind of like all black, but like red, kind of blood a little bit all over it.
Oh, the old WNBA blood jersey. That's going to go over huge for all your amateur Twitter
it's a
comics.
Jersey for sure.
The Indiana Fever.
All right, let me look it up.
I should have probably sent the picture to Sam. That's another thing
I just Googled it.
Yeah.
Oh, I typed in Indian Fever, which is a
whole... Don't type that.
Don't do that.
So...
But all the teams are doing Rebel editions. Like the LA Sparks is doing a like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air kind of jersey, but I wasn't impressed with that one. But this is the only one that really stands out because Stranger Things is in Indiana, so that's the reason why they're doing it for the Indiana.
So the font looks like the Stranger Things font, and okay.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Let me ask you this, EJ.
Oh my God!
Because you know, the WNBA has been basically a punching bag or a joke, punchline for jokes for decades, right? Like everybody talks about, oh, WNBA, no one watches that. Like, you know, that's the whole joke, right? It's like, oh, it's compared to something that no one watches as the
It's
joke.
an inferior product.
Yeah, it's an insult.
And it loses money every year.
Now, cool jersey, actually. I like it.
And there's been pushback, obviously, and I see a lot of like sports podcasts and mainstream sports covering WNBA and the product, them trying to work on getting the product better, and like a lot of support behind it, and NBA players supporting it more and trying to prop it up, and then like them trying to do better promotions with jerseys, and you know, all to try to make it more popular, right?
Yes.
And is that working? Like, are people, because in women's soccer it's working, and it's always like it's gotten significally like
it has.
It seems like there hasn't been as big as a drop off in MLS and women's. It seems like there's a big drop off, but it's
internationally though. Our women's soccer team holds their own, and are we forgetting to factor in the amount of heat that they get just from being a damn good team for our nation? You know, like our ladies soccer team is top tier, like, you know, and will be for a while.
They win the World Cup or the Olympics every
does that helps? And then like somebody in our chat room mentioned the Solar Bears doing this with their like Star Wars jerseys that they do for hockey, and I know a lot of people are crazy for those. Like I know in this area, people go nuts. And I would say it has helped Solar Bear's growth. But to the level that you're saying, that how much? I don't know.
Yeah, like I don't know anybody that watches WNBA.
No, I don't know one person.
But I don't watch the NBA or anything, so I'm not one to talk to.
I might, if my daughter gets into basketball,
Right,
I might
that's
end
what
up
I was
having to
thinking.
watch it, which, from what I understand, the level of play has come a long way. It's very good now.
I'm not saying anything about that. I'm just talking about the general popularity. Has ratings increased? Is it becoming more popular? Is the push working? Because I heard that the only reason they're still in business is because the NBA keeps them in business. Is that right? I don't know.
I've heard
a
that
little bit,
well.
yes. But there's 3 teams for the WNBA that are soluble. So in other words, they make money, but the rest of them are losing money. But it's gone up every year. They for the past 6 years, at least one more team is getting more soluble. So it is improving.
Because it makes sense for the NBA. They're just we'll keep it alive just to increase the popularity of basketball in a whole to
general,
women.
yeah.
Because we want a bigger market share of
women watch
women.
men's basketball.
Yeah.
Because it's the main product that they've always had.
So they'll support it to the end of time, I
Yeah.
believe. But I guess I'm asking one day, could it reach a profitable,
Christine
arena.
mentioned something too that's interesting. She says WNBA might also get a bump since there's a WNBA player in the new Space Jam movie, and that'll be a nice way to market. So, yep, that'll help out too.
Yep.
Next
the next story I have is let's talk about another women's sport, softball. There's a female Hope. Oh man, let's make sure I get this name right. Trotween, I think it is. Hope Trotween is a pitcher for the North Texas University, and she pitched a perfect game with all strikeouts.
Wow.
She hit 21 batters and struck all of them out in his perfect game.
How often does that happen in softball?
Never. It's never happened a perfect game with all strikeouts. There's been perfect games with
really?
a fly out and stuff like that, but this is the very first one ever. And but this is not her first 21 strikeout game. This is her second 21 strikeout of the season.
So is she just some
she
sort
is
of
amazing.
softball monster
Yeah, it says
phenom?
this feat is believed to be the first at elite level of U.S. college sports.
And
Yeah,
she's done it
Division One. This
twice?
is the first time at Division One.
And she's the only person to do it twice.
No. She had 21 strikeouts, but I think she walked a batter or someone got a hit on her.
Huh. People
So
in the
one's
chat
a
room are
perfect
freaking
game,
out.
and the next one's not a perfect game, but it's a 21 strikeout game.
Gotcha.
You know what sucks for her is you accomplish this as an athlete that no other athlete in your sport has ever accomplished, and at that level, right? And it goes down in the record books. It's like you're the first, and to be the first athlete in any sport to do anything, it should it's a crazy
It's amazing.
achievement. But then there's no money to be made after it.
This was her first starting game of the season, too, by the way.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what?
Was it a crazy anomaly where just maybe
Well, she was playing a Division One team school. It was Arkansas Pine Bluff.
So it was no
Division One schools.
Yeah, there was no joke. So she's actually playing a team. That is and wait, so she first time starting did this?
It was the first start of this season.
Of this particular
Yes.
season.
Yes.
Okay, I was like,
Well,
oh my god.
but
She's
what
a senior, yeah.
What
so
I'm
she's-
saying is you can't parlay softball into any sort of career. Hope went on to be
Coaching.
Is there money in that? I mean, I
don't
guess
know.
for college,
enough
what is
to
a
keep you
college
alive, I guess.
a college softball coach? Yeah, I guess you're making $40,000.
I mean,
a
if
year.
it's your passion, then you'd
Yeah.
be okay. But I know what you mean.
But
You're
I'm
trying
saying,
to look for,
if you set a record that's never been done before,
Right.
you should be able to make
I mean, we're getting a lot of females now in the NFL that are coaches and assistant coaches. I mean, maybe she could go to the MLB.
Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
That's true,
there's
yeah.
a couple of female coaches in Major League Baseball that just started this year.
Yeah,
The
MLS
Mets
just got a
hired
new one
one.
yesterday.
But
I think there's a big team. In her role is even bigger. She became the second women's general manager in MLS history. So that's a huge deal. She'll be in charge of the entire club.
But
That's cool.
EJ knows usually the players that turn coach aren't the best players. Like usually the best.
No.
She
the-
sounds like the
yeah.
best.
The best, most athletic players usually don't turn coach career just because they've spent all their time training to be the best and not
Right.
all learning coaching, which is a totally different skill set.
Maybe she could do that high end like Deion Sanders does, where you're like, you don't really want to coach, and you're not really a coach, but you can also take on almost like mentorship for young women that want to play softball as good as you. I don't know.
Wait, there's got to be some money in product endorsement in softball, like Wilson gloves. Like they have to pay, because she's now the top of her game in her sport. Like there's got to be some endorsement money, right? But I don't know because it's like how popular and how many eyes are in women's softball.
Here, not to take a step back, but I will say in bowling there's a lot of endorsement money because it's all the money you get, I think. I mean, like all those Hammer and all these different bowling companies, they just throwing money and products at these guys. That's why those purses can get upwards, $250,000, $500,000.
All right, EJ, what's next?
Okay, the last story I have for Jock is Julian Edelman was cut by the Patriots, but it looked like they were just doing it because he retired like half an hour later.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw, and a lot of people speculated that
they was going to the Bucks. Like everyone made that joke.
Well, no, I was saying speculating his retirement because right before this, they announced that he's not going to even play a full season next year based on some sort of injury, and like he's pretty old for his position.
He didn't pass his physical. That was the other thing that was because of his knee for sure.
Yeah. But if you look at his overall record and what he's accomplished, what is it? 3 Super Bowls, 1 VIP of a Super Bowl, and postseason receptions. I think his postseason receptions are second to only Jerry Rice. He's accomplished a lot in his career, and he should be. I think he'll be good forever, right? Because he'll probably go into some sort of media or something,
right?
He's
pretty charismatic, right? Or is he still a little rough around the edges?
No, he's a media guy, it seems like.
Yeah, he's kind of funny, right? Like in a kind of fun, jerky way. Like he'll play.
Yeah, he kind of reminds me of Jamie Watson a little bit, like that kind of like snarky or whatever.
Did he grow his beard back, or did he keep himself clean? The shave?
I don't know.
Because he's a decent looking guy too. I'm just trying to think of like the whole maybe he'll go into some sideline work or something. That'd be cool. I really feel bad for Wes Welker because I feel like Wes Welker started ecstasy parties, right?
He started the tiny white guy receiver.
It was a trend for a minute.
But
after the Wildcat.
But Julian Edelman,
receiver.
That white possession receiver,
that always lined up in the slot where it's really dangerous to go right across the middle. Oof. Because you're dealing with linebackers and safeties.
Boom.
Yeah. Well, not anymore.
That's one position I don't want to be dealing with.
Well, you can't get hit anymore over the middle. Every hit is a foul, so it's like they protect them now. It's just like Wes Welker started it, and Julian Edelman capitalized on it with the 3 Super Bowls, VIP of 1.
Apparently, there's a video that surfaced that has Bill Belichick telling Wes Welker to his face that he's going to lose his job to Julian Edelman.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Yeah, that just got released an hour ago if you want to check that out.
It's all coming out now.
Belichick yelling, you stink. You're no Edelman. And he's like, I'm a small white guy. I should be the same. No.
Oh. Okay, let's go over to the nerd stuff.
Please.
Okay, I sent a link to Samantha of a property. Remember you guys were talking about you guys wanted a party house?
Yes.
Okay, I found the perfect place. It's in Trenton, Florida, which is like a little bit west of Gainesville. It's an 8-bedroom, 8-bath house, 2 stories, but it used to be the Gilchrist County Jail, and it's haunted.
All right. So,
and you can get it for cheap. It's only $139,000, but it's on a 1/4-acre lot.
So, that's pretty cheap for just the property alone in Florida, but this is an old jail.
Oh my God. Why they did like the photo is like a purple filter on it. They put a cartoon ghost in the window. This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
Well, some realtors just like, I know how we can sell it.
This is why you go with the Bart Merrick team, because this is all screwed up.
Yeah, this is terrible.
This is already terrible.
This is not HDR photography.
This is what Bart and Chris will have to deal with. Some knucklehead got his grandma to Photoshop a ghost in the window.
Look at how bad that is.
All the pictures are terrible.
Oh. So 139,000. We should.
It's not bad.
I bought my house for that much, and like I can sell my house and get this.
Well, at least this place got a fence. Yeah, I'm sorry.
So,
oh my God, it's a cigarette butt.
What is?
Oh, there's.
Can we?
Oh, Crystal's in the hot tub again.
Stop it.
Dude,
They put a mannequin in a jumpsuit. Oh my God.
Okay, I'm in.
can we crowdfund buy this place and turn into Airbnb?
For sure.
But it's
Yes.
what is it outside of Gainesville? Like who the hell wants to
No,
go to
it'll
this?
be
Florida.
a.
Gainesville
It'll be a,
stinks.
Trenton, Florida.
It'll be a scare B&B.
Yeah. Is that where
Get it?
I used to go with the Wizard up to some flea market and some like place around Gainesville, some hellhole, small town. But all those towns over there, up there, even if Gainesville didn't have UF,
Oh, it's trash.
it'd just be
Nice.
hellhole.
Look, it's got a nice yard and some nice posts.
A regular tiny Florida trash town.
Yeah.
And so there's no way you're getting any sort of tourists to this place. I guess you maybe just for the novelty of staying in a jail Airbnb. I'm thinking of a bit-
100% true crime fans would stay here.
Yeah, you gotta like.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. You guys should buy it and turn it into a B&B.
And then you
get
fill it
Or
full
just do
of-
ghost tours.
and you
or
can
whatever.
sleep in the cells.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
every bedroom is
Yeah.
a cell.
You put a
and-
couple
yeah.
prison toilets in there. You put all the books in there. Got to be like murder mystery books. All the
you're right.
pictures on the walls got to have those weird eyeballs that follow you around the room.
If you
Yeah.
made it a murder podcast themed, like you get
put
moms
in-
and murder podcasts
Yeah.
to promote it, like,
We
hey,
get
you can
s-
stay in this Airbnb. Dude, hold on.
You get Sam and her husband to go in there, do some of
this
their
out.
I'll
world
send you the link.
famous haunted mansion paintings on the walls. It'll be perfect. You put some old.
Are there any jail Airbnbs right now? There's got to be
Probably.
some
There
old
has to
jails,
be.
right?
I'm sure.
Well, there's the old jailhouse restaurant in Sanford, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. But I'm like someplace where
Eating
you
in
can
a
stay.
jail is different than sleeping in a jail.
yeah. And haunted with it's got the cartoon ghost.
Yeah.
The first thing that came up was the Dorchester jail cell Airbnb. So there
you go.
There are some. There's
What-
also
what's in a night? What does it rent a
let's
night?
see. Well, let's see if we pick today.
Because you get some
Guy's
BS
a-
ghost hunters.
This guy's
to-
a businessman. He goes right for what am I running
$79
it for?
a night.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
way
garbage.
good.
We're going higher than
Yeah,
that.
I need at least
Yeah.
280.
Okay,
least
okay.
150, yeah.
Let's see what the other ones are.
We
There's
get
the
a-
historic Wyckoff Jailhouse.
Why cough? Because I got corona. That's why. What do you want me to leave this in me? Are you crazy?
And we'll just
This one's $89 a night.
What are these? I'll leave you a
Where
light
are
on
these?
for you hotels. These are crappy ass hotels.
This one's close to the Forestville State Park, wherever the
okay,
hell that
because
is.
these are all the
They're
middle
all
of
in the
nowhere.
middle of nowhere,
And
yeah.
these are nerds doing it for historical. We're trying to give you the full blown.
This one's in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a bad
I don't
place.
wanna go to
Right
The other
now.
one's in
Right now.
Canada.
We can have Butler there full time, and he could scare people in the middle of the night.
But
like-
he's dressed like a dead
Yeah.
jailer.
Yeah.
Here's one that's an old Florida prison. You can spend the night in a Florida prison for $103 a night.
No, all right, that's
Yeah,
now
now we're
where is that at?
talking. Yeah.
Is it
Hold
gonna
on, it's
encroach
loading.
into our area of?
Yeah, we don't want to overlap.
yeah.
And if they're in our area, then we'll get the big corporate to get out of our area.
It's
Then we can do a co-op.
It's the former Indian River Correctional Institution in Vero Beach.
Oh, that's a good one. A lot of people died there. A lot of
All
tears.
right, well, that's at Vero Beach. That's at least
Yeah,
that's
something
part of
like that.
jail.
Coast
It
almost.
says the prison is close to restaurants and dining, the beach, and family-friendly activities.
Yeah, that's Jimmy Buffett jail.
Yeah. This
We
is,
want to do really spooky jail.
Yeah, this is up near in middle of nowhere, Gainesville. Anyway, what's
Yeah.
next?
Okay, the next story I picked for Dan. Okay, Dan, you were a big fan of Transformers back in the day, right?
Yeah, oh, yeah, absolutely.
Transformers?
Now, if
Have
this is the $700 Optimus Prime, I ordered it.
Exactly. You did?
Yeah, I ordered it.
What?
Oh, it's amazing. Have you seen the videos where it transformed? Like Jay and Silent Bob did a whole
Do you
video
wanna
of them
see it?
playing with it.
What is it?
It is
Did you order it for
amazing.
real?
I want it. If it was cheaper, I would consider ordering it. If it was like $300, I would buy it in a heartbeat.
Because if you order
But
it for real,
$700 is a little.
No,
yeah,
I'm
I
gonna
wanna get-
make fun of you
I-
like Bobby.
I really wanted to order it, but I didn't. I lied to you. I didn't.
$700 toy.
Dude,
From
it's
across the galaxy,
so awesome.
an unforgettable hero is about to return.
And they use the real guy's voice too.
Introducing the world's first auto-converting, interactive, voice-enabled, programmable Autobot hero, Optimus Prime. The Transformers toy that defined a generation comes to life by the command of your voice or mobile device. Standing an amazing 19 inches tall, 5,000 components finished with premium materials make this G1 Optimus Prime impressively authentic, even speaking with the original voice. 60 microchips power the 27 high-performance servo motor joints, empowering Optimus Prime to fully auto-convert and operate in both robot and vehicle mode.
What do you think, buddy?
And even
if you're an adult and you buy this, I'm gonna.
It looks so cool. My wife would kill me if I spent $700 on Optimus Prime. I do still have my Optimus Prime though. Like when I was a kid, I still have mine. I guess
I
that's
have the one from Beast Wars still.
I have my original one. I have it. It's sad. I'll tell you why. I looked at it just the other day. So I've got the actual, when it's in its like semi-state, you look on the side. And remember, the original ones when they came out had rubber tires. Like really soft rubber tires.
Yeah.
And one of the tires had fallen out. My dad had repaired it with a friggin' toothpick. You could see the toothpick in there holding the wheel on. It's so ghetto.
So you guys tell me why.
Oh, it's white trash crazy.
If you buy this for $700, it's just a flex to people that you
for sure.
have $700 to waste on.
Flex, which is the worst kind of flex.
Because you're not getting $700 of enjoyment out of having this transformer turn into a semi-truck to a robot and then like wave its arms around on your iPhone.
But you are gonna tell people you do.
Yeah.
You got to justify it.
Well,
right?
you can't you can't just say like I bought this so you guys will know I can waste $700 without a worry.
I mean, it would be cool though if somebody said I bought this because I can and you don't have the expendable income to do so. I'd be like, whoa, dude, harsh. I'd be like,
that's a flex.
Because
that is a flex.
I can't imagine an adult playing with this and then getting enjoyment out of it.
Okay, I will agree with you, and I hate to do it, but I will agree with you in saying that I would love to buy it. But I can't see myself playing with it longer than about, at tops, 30 minutes of vigorous taking it into a robot, taking it into a semi, taking it into a robot, taking it into a semi. I can't think of much more I would do with it.
A bigger flex would be Tom buying it for his kids and then not caring about it, I think.
Well, yeah,
because they wouldn't even care about it. They'd play with it once and be done with it.
Or this is like something like a Rob Dyrdek would buy his daughter for her just to push around and then thrown in the pile of other toys. He's a millionaire. It doesn't matter,
Now, there are certain people that, like Bert the Stormtrooper, for instance, a buddy of ours that we've known for many, many years. He has one of the largest collection of Transformers I've ever seen.
So this
hundreds.
This would complete it, yeah.
So for
him,
I kind of see it because it's like, dude, I think he has no BS. I think he has 30 different Optimus Primes, all different kinds. He's got some that are imported from different countries and different mistakes and models, so it would fit his collection perfectly.
So with something like this, how many of these things do you think they produce? Because this is a hard thing for a company to project sales-wise. At a $700 price point, you probably are I don't know, I know how much a $35 Optimus Prime toy would sell throughout Walmart in the United States. They have that data, but they're how much would a $700 fully controlled Optimus Prime, how many people would buy this? So do they release just a limited run?
Okay, they did a pre-order type of deal.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense.
I think they have them ready to go, and they probably have an exact amount that they want to shoot for.
Yeah.
And then they did the pre-order to gauge whether or not they need to, how long they're going to keep the factory running.
Yeah.
And they'll do it that way.
It's all pre-order.
I think so. Yeah. Because it's all through that Hasbro. What is it called? Hasbro Pulse, or it's the high-end toys because they've realized that, kids love the toys, but dads have more money and love toys too.
But also this could be done as a marketing promotion as well too, where you do limited release of these $700 ones, but to boost the market for other toys.
Yeah.
So, that kind of thing too. Anyway,
it's really cool, but too expensive for
$700. Yeah, it's crazy. Okay, the last story I have is Sebastian Stan, who's playing the Winter Soldier in Falcon and Winter Soldier. Have you guys been watching that yet?
I have not. I'm up to date on Invincible, but that's about it.
I'm one behind on Invincible. I didn't watch it this week. We got to do that. But Sebastian Stan, okay, you guys know how whenever you meet a fan of the show, they always say one thing to you, right? Tom, it's usually you jump Gravedigger, or Dan, it's the really insulting thing that I'm not going to repeat. or Samantha. It's another insulting thing that they say. But with Sebastian Stan,
what is mine that's insulting?
What is that?
I'm not
They
gonna
talk
say.
about the things.
Yeah, I don't know what he's talking
What
about.
things?
The
They
one
talk
thing-
about things.
What things?
He talking the Bob.
You just reminded us all of our listeners are insulting to us. Like, they all-
Why is
Why
mine
do they-
insulting though?
Well,
They do the same thing.
It's
to this
inappropriate,
guy.
not insulting.
yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah.
Inappropriate.
It's
yeah.
more of like a
because this
harassment.
guy, he used to be the Winter Soldier, and there was a way to unlock him to be like evil. So everyone keeps on saying the Russian words to him, like longing, rusted, furnace, daybreak, 17, benign, 9, homecoming, 1, and freight car. But they say it in Russian to try to unlock him to be the Winter Soldier.
I don't know.
And
what
it's
this
driving
means.
him
What does
crazy.
this mean? I don't know what this means. Unlock
yeah.
what?
Yeah, you're talking too nerd for us. We don't even understand what you're saying. You're
He
like,
started the race war.
you're like iron, grass.
What's happening?
Filament. What are you saying?
In the movies, he was conditioned to follow instructions after he heard these words. So, like, he heard these words and he killed Tony Stark's parents. Stuff like that.
That's terrible.
Like
Iron, grass, filament, kill Tony Stark's parents.
so it's the old you've been programmed and
Yeah,
you turn
brainwashed, yeah.
brainwashed.
When I snap my fingers, he'll cluck like a chicken on the improv stage.
Can we talk about have we okay.
Improv hypnotist?
No, the hypnotist.
Yes,
Does hypnotizing people work?
Yes.
That does.
No, it's fake.
I want to get
Yeah,
a
but-
hypnotist to try and hypnotize Tom.
Yeah, no, but
It won't work. He has
No.
to be open
But
to it.
some people swear-
Suggestion.
so-
And I think that's garbage.
We could
too. I
get
think they're lying.
Butler though, right?
Yeah,
There are
and
people-
everybody I used to work with used to swear they didn't masturbate, Tom.
Yeah, but there are people.
People lie.
And no, but they swear this works, and like there's some sort of proof, and there's like
What proof?
I'm telling you, there's some sort of argument still going on. This is not ghosts here. This is like hypnotists. It's like acupuncture, where there's like a gray area of it works, but in these circumstances, under this thing, but it's like it's not like complete BS. There's something to it, I think, because this has bothered me as much as like you burn alive. Where you're sitting on your chair. And you're fat.
Spontaneous combustion.
Spontaneous combustion.
I do like burning alive sitting alone while you're fat. That's better. Hold on. Tom's idea of spontaneous combustion, he's like, I can't spawn. I don't know. You're a ginormous, big, fat piece of ass living alone.
We talked about this before, and there's something because they found just like a burned chair and a foot.
Yeah,
I was like, well, how did that happen?
It's another fat person
How do you-
spontaneous combust. Living alone. I have to say those points.
There's some
sad.
sort of gray area. Anyway, sorry.
Oh, yes, their armpits. Very gray. Fat people's armpits are gray.
Oh,
and the thighs.
EJ, is your armpits gray?
Yeah, you got them. Because you're...
My thighs are brown, though.
Yeah, that's pre-gray. You got pre-gray.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, your thighs are brown.
Well, not your whole thigh, but just the middle where it rubs.
the inside
Everybody
where
knows
your
that.
thighs
Where they
rub.
rub together?
Yeah, you got
I don't have that
pre-gray.
thigh gap.
You got pre-gray.
Yeah. That's at least gray brown.
And you also limp a little bit. You lumber, is what I call it.
limp.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
do. When
Yeah.
you go to do anything with your family, you're the slowest one walking behind the three.
No,
I
Pokemon
know. And then
keep me
you
from doing that.
and you limber, and then you got to move
Yeah,
your
yeah.
pants away from, and then your thighs touch, and they gently start
Burn.
making brown together.
And then you put on Mickey Mouse
I
hat.
don't know why
and,
your fans are insulting to you guys.
and then your hair dye gets on.
Yeah, you're walking around Disney World. Your hair dye is leaking into your eyes like
Julia.
you look like the biggest, fattest, oldest Dracula.
Oh.
And
I
then,
see. I offered to help you guys this week, and this is the thanks I get.
oh, Dracula's thighs gone brown. Your football name is Dracula Brown Thighs.
What number am I?
The Ohio State, number 14. Oh, I needed a good laugh. I'm sorry I made fun of your gambling earlier, Tom.
That's
I
fine.
apologize.
That's right.
Oh.
That's fine. So
Do you got time for one more, or do you got?
Yeah.
Quickly,
sure.
please.
Okay, well, the one that's real quick. Did you hear the new EDM Mortal Kombat song?
I got
did
it.
Send it to you.
Yeah, I got it ready to go. Hold on, give me 1 second
Yeah.
to power this up for you.
all right. So
You know Tom and his EDM.
I know.
he's
Tom always going to the Alexi Daisy Carnival with fishnets and neon colors.
He is
Mortal Kombat.
That sounded a little crowy. What happened at the end?
This guy knows what he's talking about.
I immediately bailed.
Oh, I'm
I
sorry.
immediately bailed as soon as I started.
You're like, this is a mistake.
In fact, I said before I even made a sound,
do it.
I said, don't do it in my head. And then I did it
Couldn't
anyway.
help yourself.
I keep opening the video of the fat guy bowling.
Why does that keep happening?
Hold on here. It's not that one. It's not this one. It's this one, right? Okay, here.
Yeah.
Here we go. Here we go.
All the time.
It's just
The
stupid.
best thing we've ever done on the show is play techno over your bed.
So how is this even a story? Like,
It's just Mortal Kombat, and they just did an EDM version of it for the new movie.
I'm sure there's a million EDM versions of this,
Mortal
right?
There
Kombat.
are some EDM versions. They're very rare, but
And the same thing with like the Tetris theme, the
Superman theme, I've heard.
Zelda. There's 10 million Zeldas.
Yeah.
EDM, right?
It's like everything's been remade. Like even news stories now. Like the saddest things that come out. Then somebody will grab it
Leprechaun
and
in a tree.
yeah, like there is a DD Mega Doo-Doo Mega Mix on YouTube right now because that's what we've become. Everybody just wants fame.
Chungus.
It's not even fame at that point because no one even knows who made it. It's just everybody wants their creativity
Attention.
to be looked at or
Yeah,
something.
give me attention,
But
give
it's
me
worth
attention.
nothing. It's not
Do you
money
think we
behind
will
it.
go the opposite direction where the idea of not being known at all and being almost like completely anonymous will then become the new look at me?
I don't think so because I think the attention is some evolution thing that we all have as humans because that helped us. Being popular helped you live
Yeah, I think you're right.
in ancient humans
That makes
because
sense, yeah.
people would give, that's why you would be more apt to be able to live longer if the more popular you were. So therefore, I think we all have some sort of gene that wants us to
Drives
be liked
us, yeah.
or to be paid attention to.
I like that.
Last
Last question I have for any of you four here, EJ included. Have you seen Wonder Woman 84?
no.
Yes.
I have not.
I have a really strong opinion on it.
Is it worth watching because I'm a fan of Kristen Wiig, or will it make me upset with her?
Kristen Wiig is the one bright spot in the movie. I'll give you that.
I'll watch it then. Okay.
He's better than the Mandalorian guy in it. I
Okay.
can't think of the guy's name. Pedro Pascal, yeah.
Okay, cool.
He's in it as well, but his part is not that great. But there is a questionable situation with Wonder Woman I can't give away without spoiling the
I
movie.
think you already did that before, but it's fine.
All right.
Well,
so-
what's the questionable part of it?
well, just
There were some consent
Wonder Woman's a
issues.
rapist.
yeah, there's some consent issues in there, and then they tried to explain it away by saying it was a different time, which it was in the movie. But
Or with her and a dude?
1984.
Like,
Yeah.
what does she do?
well, it's problematic because isn't he under a spell or?
He the guy that Chris Pine plays takes over the other guy's body because
right.
Chris Pine has been dead for like 80 years, and it's this dude, and he takes over his consciousness, so he has no consent that he can give because he's either not there or it's his body or whatever.
Oh my god!
And they do have sex.
And then they auto-tune the sound of the sex.
Nobody,
It's terrible.
nobody cares about that, right?
No, I don't think really they do, but it did become a story.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, yeah. Well, everything's a story,
Right,
Yeah.
but do people really
Like,
care?
he took over this guy's brain, then he had sex with Wonder Woman. Ask the guy. I bet he's fine with it. Like, ask him. Ask him
I
in
mean,
the story.
It's not even real. is
Well,
what-
I know.
like, they
That's
did-
the whole point.
right,
Well, then
they-
go ask him.
yeah.
If you're mad about it, you got to track him down and ask his character because I think he likes it.
Oh, man.
I'll bet
And
money he
we'll
likes it.
end with this. In the Invisible Jet, I feel like you should at least have a seat cushion just for at least once a month, right? Right? Seat cushion, piece of plywood, old floor mat, monster mat.
All right, EJ.
That grippy stuff you can buy and you cut and you put in all the drawers in your kitchen.
EJ, I feel like we're close to getting a fence sponsor. I've seen some heat
Oh, well,
We gotta
Corona.
go.
My God.
I got a vaccination. I'm good.
you only got the half vax.
That's fine.
You only got the
I'm
half
90%. That's what Mom said.
90%? No, you're only 90% if you get both.
That's what
and you
my
got the
mom
one
said.
and done. That's only 72%. And you probably got the fat clot.
So, EJ, we're real close to fence. I feel it. I feel it. There's some.
Because I've been getting quotes. The best one I got was for 6,100, and it's the square footage is 222 feet. So if that helps
expensive as
with
hell.
pushing it.
Because I need a new fence now, so that's what's reinvigorated my, my
Oh,
motivation.
Wait, you got a new one, I thought, don't you? Because didn't you cut it out over the tree?
Yeah, but it's fallen into disrepair. I was showing my sons how hard I could throw a baseball because I'm real life. What's his name's uncle? Rico.
Uncle Rico.
I'm real
Yeah.
life Uncle Rico.
I'm
Tiny.
real life. What's his name's uncle? Welcome back to everyone's favorite reality show. What's his name's uncle?
Anyway,
Let's check in. He's throwing baseballs with the boys
so
out back.
I threw a baseball at my fence and it broke a hole right through into my
Oh,
neighborhood.
that's a humble brag.
No,
Okay,
no,
my
I'll
wife.
show you to you.
Hey, my wife.
No.
My wife's got to go to the doctor because I spread her legs. Oh.
No. And,
Because I'm a big meatball.
no, because it's all rotten. Everything's rotten. The bottom is all fungusy on the bottom, and it's all falling apart. And then my neighbors put blue painter tape over the hole. So I'll take a picture of it.
Don't look at us while we're sipping our mimosas.
And so now once
The guy who wears the headbands was peeking through the hole while we were having our bellinis.
So now, like before Butler was on the case, that would get nowhere.
Butler's on the case. Doing what? When has Butler ever been on
Now
the case?
old Tom Van's on the case, and I'm sniffing out some leads. I'm just gonna tell you. I can put my sales hat on, and we're going for it.
Okay.
Okay, I'll tell my wife to hold off on any
Yeah,
final
yeah.
decisions then, because
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
the boss.
Yeah.
Well, first I get the new fence first, and then
Yeah.
there's a small.
And then you get the
Trickle down economics.
Yeah, you get
Economics.
whatever wood's left over.
Okay, that worked for Reagan for sure.
All right, EJ.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right.
Get out of here.
Is that it?
Yes,
oh,
we're way over.
Oh God, bye.
Welcome back to A Corporate Time. I'm Dan.
Tom. So we have a guest on Zoom. She's from What a Day Kids podcast, Melissa Winston. How you doing, Melissa?
Doing well. How are you guys?
Good.
Hey, thanks so much for taking the time to be with us today.
Yeah, it gives me a half day off of work, so I'm fine.
All right. Yeah, and you have a particular, I would say, a pretty difficult job, wouldn't you say, Tom?
Yeah. Tell us about your job, Melissa.
Well, I teach a special needs classroom, so I work in a self-contained class. So they're with me for every class except for their elective, and yeah, we hang out. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, and my mom was a lifelong educator, worked until she actually decided to retire, and she didn't work with special needs children, but I can tell you that anybody who's willing to put their life out there to, teach our children, give them some guidance, especially those that need
Extra help.
it is a very, very, very important and very, very difficult job. So first of all, hats off to you and thank you for doing it. What made you want to go into teaching, if you don't mind me asking? Did you always want to be one, or was it a pivot?
Actually, yeah, it was a giant pivot. Growing up, everybody was like, "Oh, you'd be such a great teacher," and I was like, "No, hard pass. Don't want to be a teacher ever. No, thank you." And then I moved back to Florida in 2014. I went to school up in Michigan and stayed there for a few years, and then came back and needed a job and kind of fell into teaching at a private school. And then decided I really liked working with special education. And so then I ended up at a public school, and that's where I've been working for the last 5 years now.
Awesome.
So,
Melissa,
Yeah.
when it comes to like special needs students, like it seems to me, because I have friends that are special, like Andres and Leanne,
that's exactly who I was thinking
they
of
work
too.
for a public school that just that every student has some sort of special need that they work with.
And they've been doing that a very long time,
Yeah, well, since they started being
Yeah.
teachers, it's always been at the same school. But they've told me that because of lack of funding and, the same old story is that we don't put enough money into any of these programs, is that the spectrum of child that they have to deal with is like everybody has their own individual need. And then because of that, it's hard because not everybody's dealing with the same need. And then you have, 20 kids in a class or 15 kids, and they all have to be specifically dealt with in a particular way, which helps them the most. And that's hard to do because it's not like a group, as much of a group learning as regular school. Everybody kind of needs special attention. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, just like any kid, every kid is different. Every student is different. And so it really just gets into getting to know your students and how they work best. And usually there's like 3 to 4 students who work very similarly or have similar needs. And so we usually do like little small groups, like I rotate kids and how we learn. And so some kids will be doing independent work or on a break, and then I'll be working with some kids, and then they rotate through so that you're only working with a little group at a time. But yeah, they're all very different.
What are some of the challenges that you've had to kind of deal with, now in going through what we're going through with the pandemic and the virus? I mean, I can't imagine, this is a pretty Mr. Obvious question, but what difficulties have you had to deal with that have been lumped on top of what you would deal with day to day as it is?
So I have some kids who are working virtually, so I get to teach both on the computer, virtual and in person together. And that has been interesting and really changed my classroom. So again, part of those small groups that I was talking about, now just one of those groups are my at-home kids. So I'll work with them and then send them on a break and then go work with my face-to-face. And then keeping masks on kids is
right.
a struggle for, I think, everybody, not just in my class. But
it's sometimes it's tough for, for people's grandpa to keep their mask on. I mean, it can be
hard for adults too.
Yeah, it can be very difficult for anybody. But so tell us a little bit about now. So now you get the opportunity to do a show that basically you get to share with the general public, kind of some of the things that you deal with day in and day out. Tell us about the show and how that came to be created.
Yeah, so What a Day Kids, I'm really excited about because, like you said, it kind of shows people what life is like in a special education classroom. And so I'm excited. I talk a little bit in the beginning of the show about just things that happen in my class and anecdotes of the day. And then I have a guest that comes in, whether it's another teacher or a parent or an expert in their field, like a psychologist or a school admin. And then the part I'm most excited about is at the end, where I actually interview a student and have somebody with disabilities actually come on, use their voice instead of just being talked about, be a part of the show and,
That's awesome.
and inform people themselves.
Melissa, can you help me figure out if I'm special needs?
I can't diagnose you. No.
Well, you can. Hold on. You're a professional enough.
I'm excited that we might get to the end of the problem, or if I'm absolutely repulsed that you would ask her that.
Well, hold on. We don't know yet.
I know.
So I could be special needs, and then who is the monster now? You are. and everybody, and including my wife, the biggest monster. Because this is what I want to learn, Melissa, is because I want to be diagnosed as special needs so I could prove to my wife that she has to treat me differently. And my general personality and everything I do, it has the underlying, it needs to come with the information of like, this man's special needs. This is why he's doing these things. Then just let him be. Well, give him the space.
Leave him alone.
Leave him alone.
Yeah.
Don't correct it. Don't say, why'd you do this again, you idiot?
Okay.
Why, you're the dumbest person I've ever seen. Because then you're a hate crime in me.
Well, I would imagine. I would imagine at some point she would change the way she instructs you to hopefully find.
Because then your work would be nicer. Now she's crowing at me. I'm like, God damn.
No, I wasn't talking about your wife. I was talking about her guest, and like maybe she can help your wife to change maybe the teaching structure of how she communicates with you to a language that is more easily understood by.
You took the words out of my mouth. Dan.
There you go. Like you're different. Well, I've been working with special needs radio hosts for many. Like this is my 12th year apparently of doing what you do on a tiny, minuscule, and less important level.
So I'll think of one particular thing that happened today that my wife was yelling at me about. That I'm an idiot. Why is this happening? Is because she asked me what's your business bank account password.
I don't even know that.
I know, none of us know.
Yeah, I don't even have a business credit card.
But
it's just like it's like we lost the key code to our Bitcoin.
Because for months I've been trying to just send our employees checks in the mail instead of writing them out these long old man checks that I do that I forget to do every
Sometimes
month.
you don't even write what it's for in the columns.
And then I fold them so no one sees the amount of them. Put them on
puts them on our desk.
And I've been doing it for years, and it's antiquated, stupid. That I do
turned
this.
mine over though, so I want especially you and Travis.
So
I want you to see what Big Daddy
money bags.
Big Daddy Bucks is getting.
I've been complaining about it for years, and all it takes, you just have to log on to your account, and then in the portal, you can change it easily. It's
So your question,
5 minutes.
for Melissa is?
So this is the special needs part. I forget every password of everything that I do, and then constantly I scream, you guys hear me, because I can't, I'm locked out of the account.
He's always locked out of everything.
I'm locked out of everything.
Normally it's SunTrust. Do you guys use
all the banks?
Do you guys use SunTrust?
Everything.
Are you a Sun?
No.
No. Good. Well, good on you.
No one uses SunTrust.
Good
but
on
you guys.
you. This guy swore up and down we had to use. Oh, we got to use SunTrust.
It's right there. It's
there's sun in the name. There's sun's in the sky.
I trust the sun.
There's a sun. I saw the sun.
What's the biggest product? What's the biggest planet? It's the sun.
Anyway, so my wife's been dealing with this for years, decades of me not knowing the passwords to anything. And then so she's like, write the damn password down. You forget every time. Keep them in one place. Use this program that saves your password, some app, and then I just can't do
password,
it.
Yeah.
So how should my wife talk to me instead of yelling at me and
belittling you?
Yeah, belittling. She's like, "Why you're so stupid?"
She pulls his pants down in front of people.
Why can't you do this? Why?
Yeah.
Like, why are you
She'll say inappropriate things when we're like.
Now she's right if I'm not special needs, right? Because then I'm just an idiot.
Like,
but if I am special needs, then now it's
sometimes
like I said,
Tom and I'll be going
to
Boris.
I hate to burst your bubble, Tom, but my kids remember their passwords.
All of them? Not all of them. Some of them don't.
Jerry does it.
Wait a minute. That could mean he's even more special needs.
There's got to be some that can't remember the password.
Can I send Tom to live with you for a while? Yesterday do you know yesterday Tom and I were going up to Planet Beach to tan, and he couldn't remember his password for his unlimited tanning promotion.
Here's another one.
Do you know when you tan, you're supposed to spread your butt so you don't get that white line in the crack?
I do it.
I know you do.
So, Melissa, what about this one?
Planet Beach.
I've had multiple people break into my car because I live near Castleberry, right on the border.
Locked out of his bank account, never locks his car.
You never want to live on the border.
He writes all his passwords down on one piece of paper and puts it in an unlocked car in Castleberry.
Yeah. I'm better off living in Castleberry because I feel like they just walk towards Winter Park and they get me on the way. But anyway, so I've had my car broken into multiple times, and even to the point where they broke into it, they didn't steal anything. I ragged on them for not stealing something. Then I left my wallet in there like 2 weeks later, and they broke and stole my wallet.
Well, they listened to the show.
And then, and the other day, and then I vowed to change my life or whatever. And then months later, I did it again like 2 weeks ago, where I left my wallet in the cup holder in an unlocked car. And then my wife found out, and
How'd she find out?
I screamed. I did it again. Which
how did you know? What, the next morning you came in and saw it, and you're like, oh, I shouldn't tell her about it. I have to tell her.
No.
I did it again.
No. I screamed, where's my wallet? Someone moved it. And then
wait a minute. You yell at her for saying, where's my Steve Madden shoes? Somebody stole them.
Well, and then I walked around the house looking for my wallet. And then
your wallet was in the Steve Madden shoes.
And then she goes, did you leave it in the car again? How could you do that? And I'm like, no, I didn't. And then I walked out there quietly.
And she's like, where are you going? And you're like, Planet Beach. I'll be right back.
So, Melissa, so you see there's like, not learning my lesson. I never learn my lesson with anything I do. I feel like, can I be?
Well, it sounds
can you help me?
So most of my kids have an intellectual disability. It sounds like you have like ADHD or something.
Yeah, he's on medication.
I'm on lots of Adderall.
I don't think that's the problem. I think you have the opposite one. I don't think the Adderall is helping you.
But I'm on all my medicine, Adderall, marijuana.
Well, now, they're doing the opposite things. He's on
Right.
Adderall and the marijuana.
They're working against each other in that end.
Tell me if this is healthy.
What about Charlotte's Web?
Is that what we're doing? Tell me if this is healthy. I do 2 Mountain Dew Rise energy drinks. I do 1 blueberry pomegranate, 1 peach bomb drop. I think that's what it's called. I do 2 of those. That's 180 milligrams of caffeine per. That takes me to the moon. Then I skip lunch. I don't eat all day. Then I go home and I ride at least 20 miles on my Peloton as hard as I can. My heart's about to explode. And then I skip dinner and then I just eat about 200 milligrams indica and then I pee the bed.
Yeah, what is that? Help us
Well, you
out.
have some sort of needs, but they're definitely not solved in my class.
Oh, okay. Well, your needs are special too.
Yeah. I mean, who are you to say that my needs are not special?
Anyway, sorry, Melissa. We're stupid.
Well, let's talk about our podcast before we have to get out of here and go to break.
Oh, yeah.
Mommy's here, everybody.
Yeah. So,
you're not coming to Planet Beach.
Can I be on your podcast? Will you interview me?
She won't. Yeah, where can people find your show if they want to like and subscribe and leave you a review and grow and participate? Where can they find it?
So PFT Media is the one who's putting everything together for me, which is wonderful. And I actually have Steve Etchie here. He'll be much more helpful.
What's up, buddy?
Hey,
very good to see you, man.
None of the episodes are out yet, so there's no like you can't leave a review or yet or anything. It'll be done by the end of the month. But
I do have Instagram and Facebook. What a Day Kids. You can follow me and stuff there.
Awesome. So, I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I see your long ass hair at you. You got some luxurious hair.
Yeah, he
there.
does. This man comes stepping into the frame. It's like John Wick's here, everybody.
All right, guys. We appreciate it. Thank you, Melissa. Last question. Can my pligs? My pligs.
Can my pligs? Can my pligs? Bye-bye.
I'm gonna ask about
your needs aren't special.
No. You mess with the pligs, you get the horns. I don't know what just happened.
Get my pligs.
Get my pligs, and I go, bye-bye. This is the way I do it. You get one shot. You said one last question, and you asked it. Can my pligs? That was your question. And she didn't have an answer for you, so I hung up. I run a tight ship here.
For sure, she's like, I don't know what that was. That didn't help.
No, because you didn't talk to her about her podcast at all.
Well, I don't know.
You just asked for help from
I
you.
don't like podcasts.
Yeah.
What do I know about podcasts? I'm a radio guy. It's a radio show.
Yeah. 100% radio,
You want to ask
baby.
me about podcasts? Get on my podcast then. You want to ask me about radio? Get on the radio show.
Podcasts, they'll never last. Stupid. Radio.
Who is that? Who is that?
Caller-driven radio.
You look here, John Wick. I am replacing, just so you guys know, I'm replacing Qdoba. I'm replacing it with Planet Beach. So you're gonna hear
Okay. I heard that.
I just phase them out. I get bored of references, and I'm like, Qdoba ran its course, and I'm going to Planet Beach. There is a Planet Beach here in Baldwin. It's now an escape room, and then I told last night I wanted to know if we could do escape from Planet Beach.
Yes.
I was talking to my wife about it, and sometimes I think it still gets the reviews over here, but my wife, when she was tanning, used to go to this Planet Beach, and the guy that ran it would just open it whenever he wanted to. There was no rhyme or reason. It was like open whenever he felt like it to whenever he felt like it.
I'm gonna start telling people I'm gonna hit up Crunch on my way home.
Crunch is a good one. I gotta hit Planet Beach, and then I gotta hit Crunch, brother, and then I'm gonna hit everything Bunt Cakes.
Do we have to go? Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, bye-bye.
Oh.